eaten. I made myself some rice. So.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Wow, I knew what the date was or what the day was. That's amazing.
That's only because my birthday is tomorrow.
That's true.
Good job, Valerie. Tomorrow we'll learn Friday.
Happy birthday. Sorry. Sorry I had to do that little jig for you.
That's all right.
Trying to find my headphones.
Hope everybody's having a good morning. It's nice and wet here.
Here too.
In Everest,
my sound okay without my headphones?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. To me, it sounds fine, Nikki.
Okay. Let me know.
Oh,
Yeah, sounds fine. Oh.
we
On Facebook about something called, saying it was in Alabama, something called the Blue Whale Game. But I've tried to look it up on like CNN or reputable news sites, and nothing has ever been said on those sites.
Huh.
Game where they say the teenager is like told through like Snapchat or something like that they have to, or that they're challenged to do this game. And what it does is they download this app, and this app bugs them until it drives them crazy enough to kill themselves.
No. Awful.
Yeah.
They do things like mutilating themselves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very concerned about this. And but then I looked on all the reputable news sites and haven't seen anything about it so far. So hopefully,
you look at Snopes.
Hopefully it's false. Snopes said they haven't been able to prove it. Hopefully it's a false news story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not.
Some of these trends, you know, that the kids do, I know I'm not a kid anymore, and you know, that's probably why I don't understand a whole lot of it, or you know, how they see it or whatever. But some of it is really stupid and just seems like it hurts the kids more than anything. And I understand, you know, when you're a kid, you feel like you're invincible.
Yeah.
You feel like you can do anything and not get hurt, you know, and you know, it's really sad that, you know, people want these kids to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Because most kids hurt anyways. They, you know, they find some reason to not care about themselves, or, you know, think that they're not as good as other people. Man, if I could go back, you know, because, you know, like during high school and stuff, I felt like a fat cow, and I felt like I wasn't good enough to do, like, I wasn't good enough to be outgoing, you know, and so if I could go back, I would be in every freaking club. I would be smart and do my homework.
Yeah.
You know, and get good grades and go to a good college afterwards, you know, but I would be so outgoing.
Right.
I know. They say youth is wasted on kids. We should have our youth after we're smarter.
Yeah, true. After we learn a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, because I just felt, I mean, and I wasn't, I was bigger than other girls my age, but in PE, they took this little thing that measures your body fat. It's a little measuring thing. I don't know what it's called.
Calipers.
and they pinch you right here on your
Really?
side, and they can tell how much body fat you have.
Mhm.
And then they tell you that if you have such a percentage of body fat that you're obese. And
Wow.
yeah. And
They
so
did this in front of God and everybody?
yeah, and I was probably about 4'11" or something, pretty short, and I probably weighed about 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And so because I weigh, and oh my God, if I could weigh 150 pounds now, I'd be so
Yeah.
ecstatic. I'd be like, damn, I look good. But right. I mean, then I thought, you just see yourself as a cow. I mean, especially when, there's these other girls that look like models, and,
Yeah.
we're brought up to feel like that.
Yeah.
And so it was just, that was just the starting of, that was in my freshman year that they did that. And so,
Oh,
like, it just makes the grade for the rest, the 4 years. And it's like, oh my God, if I could go back
yeah.
and tell that PE teacher, for one thing, you're a lesbian and you're not out.
Yeah.
So stop hiding yourself. Stop hiding who you are. Aren't you so sad that you're hiding who you are? Um, and then I tell her to go fuck herself because I'm not fat and I'm not
Yeah.
obese, whatever.
Yeah.
Because
What a way to set the pace for, for somebody for the
Bullying.
rest of their time at high school. And
yeah,
Yeah.
there's no self, uh what am I trying to say? There's no encouragement, or you basically are made a model of, and say, you know, this
Yeah.
is what not to do, and your lack of self-esteem is like in the toilet.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, self-esteem was I don't know, it just wasn't a thing of, like, teachers telling the kids, you can do whatever you want to do. Let's do this, and so we can get you, to where you need to be, or let's work on this. Um let's get you healthy, or healthy wasn't even the factor. It was just like, let's do fitness so you can not be fat. That
Yeah.
was that was it. And the only thing that I remember about being proud of in PE was I could do more sit-ups than the skinny girls because they had no muscles in their stomachs.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had muscles in my stomach, so I could do, like, in my 1 minute, time test or whatever for sit-ups, I could do like 78 sit-ups. I just, pumped them out or whatever. And these girls are only barely being able to get 20.
Mm.
That was the only thing I was proud of.
Yeah.
When
So
I
like,
was a kid, I was bullied. I wasn't fat. I was skinny because I was in tap and ballet. But um I was bullied and made fun of. And everywhere but school, everybody loved me because I have a good personality.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be conceited, but in school, nobody liked me. And I
Hmm.
didn't understand why. But but I had a good home life, and I had a good outside of school life, so none of that really bothered me. Years later, I was at the bar with my husband and my brother and some friends, and there was this guy who used to bully. I mean, he bullied me bad. I mean, he actually threw rocks at me. He spit in my mouth. all kinds of stuff. I mean, just mean stuff. And I mean, he actually put a hole in my head from a rock one time, and I was just gushing blood. And he never got in trouble for it because he was the popular kid. Well, anyways, he saw me at the bar one time, and he's like, I really want to apologize for the way I treated you as a child or when we were kids. He's like, I hope it didn't hurt. I hope it didn't, whatever, give me scars or whatever for life. And I was like, I am happily married. I have 2 children, wonderful children, who loves me. I said, nothing you ever did brought me down. You know, I said, and what an ego, to think that he bothered me for the rest of my life. But I guess it
Yeah.
was a nice gesture. But I was like, what an ego. You think you actually bothered me for my whole life? And I had outside of school, I had lots of boyfriends, you know.
Yeah.
I dated lots of guys, I liked older guys anyways. And so when all the popular girls were dating their stupid teenage boyfriends that were cheating on them or couldn't buy them beer, I was dating older guys that could buy me beer and were a little more mature.
Yeah.
And they treated me right, you know. So, and then in high school, it seemed to change because I got beat up once in 7th grade, and I mean, really bad beat up. This chick beat me up really bad. I never fought back, and because my brother always would always protect me. Well, then he was already 18. He was 9 years older than me, so he could no longer protect me anymore. And um, so my mom told me, she says, "You got to protect yourself. You've got to fight. You have to fight for yourself. If somebody starts a fight and you finish it, you will never be in trouble with me." And I said, okay. So, anyways, that just gave me an opening. And yeah, anybody who started a fight with me, boy, I kicked their ass. No, I wasn't in trouble. And so in high school, people still tease me from time to time, but I didn't care. But nobody was kicking my ass anymore either. But then the older I got, like in 11th grade, I got more accepted. In 12th grade, I got more accepted. It got better. Junior
Right.
high is just horrible for anybody. I had this one kid who, and they would tease me about stupid shit. Like my dad was a landlord. He had actually 2 rental properties. But they teased me. They said that they would make fun of me because they said we rented our house. And I said, we don't rent our house. And the kid, he's a popular kid. So everybody believed him. He goes, no, my mom works on the tenants union and she saw your dad on as a renter. And I said, no, you probably saw him on there as a landlord. But nobody believed me because, he was the popular kid. I mean, why would you make fun of somebody about renting a house? You know, they even teased me. They told me I was too poor for free lunch because I never got free lunch because my dad made too much money. They teased me about not getting free lunch. They said I was too poor for free lunch. Now this was when I was really young. I didn't know what free lunch was. We'd never been on any assistance. We were never on any free lunch or anything like that. And I had no clue what any of that stuff was. They were teasing me saying I was too poor for free lunch. Well, I saw all the popular kids with all the nice clothes and everything else. So it must have been something. They must have been right. So I go home crying to my mom, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "We're poor." And she goes, I said, "Everybody told me we're too poor for free lunch." She goes, "Honey, let me explain this to you." I mean, they just teased me about stupid shit. It was like they couldn't find something to tease me about, so they had to make up shit. But so I think part of it was I didn't really have anything to tease me about. I had a good life, good childhood. And so I think that's probably part of the reason why it didn't bother me so bad. I didn't have like scars the rest of my life from it. I've been I've always been proud of who I am. And like I said, everywhere but school, everybody loves me. I have a good personality and I've never had a problem making friends other than at school. So I just tell them, oh, who cares what you think?
I heard Sally about the weigh-in stuff, and that reminded me when I was in high school. They used to do that. They would line all the girls up and then weigh you on a scale, and then do the body fat thing, pinch too, which is real great.
Oh,
In front of all your other peers, which I'm always surrounded by like 89-pound girls that, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like 140, so I think like I'm just obese.
Right.
yeah.
It was
And
horrible.
yeah, and with your there was a chart that they would take your weight and go down and then go with your height.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And I was supposed to weigh 94 pounds
Oh my God.
according to that chart.
I remember, and this sounds horrible, I would stand in line behind this girl, and she looked bigger than me. She kind of had a real big bubble butt. And I remember I'm like, oh, she weighed in at like, let's say, I don't know, 125 pounds. I'm like, well, good, because I know I'll be lighter than her. And I get up there and I'm like, I don't know, 140. I'm like, fuck. And then I'm like, always rode horses and, worked on farms. And I will say, back then you don't think of it, but muscle's way heavier than just, fat. Of
Mhm.
course I weighed more, but they never take that into consideration. It's just like
Right.
overweight, Yeah.
Right.
Well, and height too, Like
I
my
don't,
husband. My
I
husband
don't,
is skinny, but he weighs 220 pounds,
yeah,
but he's skinny, but somebody else who weighs 220 pounds might be obese.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
when I quit dancing, I ballooned up really bad, and then I lost it again, but in high
yeah.
school. But
I
when I
don't,
quit dancing,
I don't think it's as bad now as like, well, I would have been in high school in the late 80s and early 90s. I'd have been done like in 91. But I don't think it's as bad now as it was back then in the 80s. Because I remember like being in the locker room and I was a cheerleader in middle school. I went to Catholic school, which is easier for peer stuff than going to public school. And then I went into a public high school. So I had like a rude awakening. Anyway, you'd have like these cheerleaders in the locker room and they'd be changing. Not that I'm like looking at them, but they'd bend over. You could see every vertebrae in their back, where the vertebrae are like sticking out. And I'm like, oh, wow, she's so skinny. I'm like, now I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was gross,
Yeah.
Somebody's starving you.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we were really big on family and everything. And I mean, we do everything with our family. And we have a lot of friends. Our family had a lot of friends. We have a big family, Italians, and that has a lot to do with why my self-esteem wasn't shot from because I was teased bad, and I mean, I only had just a few friends in school, but those friends were true friends,
Yeah.
Right.
I still have those friends. We may not see each other every day or whatever, but we're still friends,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. School can be so cruel to kids.
Well, like I said, I was in a Catholic school till 8th grade, and then I didn't go to Catholic high school. I switched to public school, which I was like in a rude awakening. It was a completely different environment than the Catholic school or that. So I really had to get in a lot. It was a lot of shock value when I moved into high school.
Yeah.
It was weird when I was a kid because like I was friends with a lot of people, but they weren't like people that would say hi to you in the halls.
Yeah.
It was more like they'll be friends with you in the classroom, but you're not actually their friend. Like
Yeah.
if they're with their friends, they're not gonna say hi to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's sad to say, but we were like, brought up in a, what do you call it, like a middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
But really we dressed like we were poor because my dad didn't spend a whole lot of money on clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes it was really hard to to go to school and dress like we had to. So we get teased and stuff. So it was just weird. It was just different. I know it's different now, now than it is, than it was when I was in school. But yeah, Megan, I don't think they had the presidential fitness test when I was in school. I know that my younger sister, she had to do that, and probably my brother.
Oh.
And they were like,
I remember it.
You do?
Yes.
We had it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was testing. There was like, how many sit-ups can you do in a minute? How many push-ups?
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. It was just all the, basically what you should be doing. You should be able to do 2 pull-ups and, I was never athletic at all in school, and athletic or academic actually. And so I didn't do very good in school.
Yeah, I don't feel bad.
TJ said that she joined today because she needed a morale boost, and now she's almost in tears. Poor thing.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
You are all right. You do the best you can, You.
All right, I'll tell you something funny. So anyway, when I first started seeing Jim, I was kind of seeing this other guy too a little bit. So, because I said to my friend, I'll see who moves faster, who I stay with. But I like Jim. He's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. And I love him. But this other guy was all into like fitness and biking and stuff. And I knew that if I stayed with Jim, if I got fat, he wouldn't judge me. I think I was all like doing this extreme biking and stuff. I'm like, well, I'm not that into biking. And what if I get like pudgy or something? He might be like trying to make me work out a lot. And I knew Jim wouldn't put that kind of pressure on me.
Right.
That just means Jim truly loves you.
We're talking about like in high school, like we, like not. It was worse. You had to be like super skinny if you're a girl, and they used to like weigh you in line with the other girls and do like those fat tests and stuff. So somebody's like, "Oh, I'm almost ready to cry." So I'm like, "I'll tell you a lighthearted weight story." Is
great. No, I got to carry that through the rest of my day. I'll never be as good as Mike.
No, you're as good as Mike.
Thanks. I was equal.
Oh my gosh.
We were at a wedding, and this other guy was at the wedding too. It was mutual friends, and this other guy and Jim went to school together. So he comes over to talk to me, and I'm like, "Well, this is Jim Carrey, He looks at him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I used to have your dad as a teacher. We went to school together." He's like sipping his drink like this. He goes, "I don't really remember you. I vaguely remember you." Jim's like, "What the hell? We used to go to parties together and stuff." And it was funny to us.
He was a jerk. Sore.
Oh boy.
And one thing I told my kids, I had this years ago, this kid that was just so cruel to me, this other kid. He was a friend of Gary's nephew. And he would always come to me and ask me to buy his food stamps. And I used to laugh. I used to tell my kids, you know what? Don't worry about what kids say to you in school. Look at this kid. He was so cruel to me, and he made my life miserable. And now he can't live unless I buy his food stamps from him because he's too much of a freaking loser to get a job and take care of his family.
Yeah.
I said, so just remember this when kids are mean to you in school, And I see all these girls. Now I'm friends with these people on Facebook that I went to school with that were mean to me in school, but they're nice now. We all grew up or whatever. And I see a lot of them. They're always out at the bar drinking. Most of them have been divorced and married again or can't find the right guy, or they've had guys that have treated them like shit or have abused them. I have been married 23 years. I got married a year out of high school to Gary. We've been married 23 years. It hasn't been perfect, but I'm still married happily. I have 2 beautiful children, and I work for myself. I'm in control of my own time. I I have a house. It's not the fanciest of houses, but it's exactly what I want.
Right.
You know, um, and so I have a lot more than most of them girls do that were so fancy back then. You know,
Yeah.
kids just have to. I used to tell my kids, just wait it out. When you're an adult, none of this shit's gonna matter. You know.
Yep. That is true.
Because I'm fat and happy and people like me.
You know, as long that's the way that I feel. I mean, if you're comfortable in your own skin and you love yourself and people love you, then
Yep.
you know that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
You know. I was only in high school for 2 years. I dropped out my the end of my sophomore year. So
When I went to school, you could drop out when you were 16, but then they changed that rule, and then you had to be 18 in order to drop out. You could drop out at 16 with your parents' permission, but then they changed that rule. Like when I was in school, and you had to be 18.
yeah. Well, I got married at 16. I know it sounds crazy, but I got married at 16, and then my plan was to go to like adult school, you know, kind of do it at my own pace type of thing, and then that didn't work out, and you know, so I didn't have which I regret. No doubt I should have stayed in school.
Yeah, I did the same. Well, I did the same thing, but I was 18. I just didn't finish. Which I would not encourage anybody to do.
Right.
I did it.
I always get married right after I get the girl pregnant. The first
That's how he tracks you.
The first time.
And then when my mom would take me to Kmart to buy clothes, I would be like, oh my God, everybody's going to tease me about going. If anybody sees me at Kmart, they're going to tease me. I mean, if they're at Kmart, then they don't have anything to tease you about because they're shopping at Kmart if they see you there. You know? I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think people are their own worst critics because when you look at things, looking back, things you were worried about, like when you were younger, especially when you're a teen, you're so worried, oh, people will think this, people will think that. Most people are so busy with their own life, they don't have time to worry about what you're doing.
Yeah, but boys are easier than girls.
Well, I think it's I think in your mind, you're thinking, oh, people are worried about this. They don't care.
Yeah,
you know,
girls.
Some mean-spirited people who are going to pick on you about stuff, but they're just jerks. Just avoid them.
Yeah, well, in high school, it's harder.
Not that easy for girls.
Girls are more insecure. Guys that rolls off your back, and girls take it to heart more.
Yeah.
That's what I say about a guy. You could have two guys. They could get in a fight and punch each other in the face, and then a week later they go, oh, hi, how's it going? Now a girl will carry that till the day she dies. You know, it'll be she's snubbish, spiteful. You know, doesn't want anything to do with that person. Guys are a lot easier going that way.
You do realize you got two guys here that have both been divorced. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I agree. Morning, Eric.
Hey.
How are you?
Oh, fine. Trying to figure out what the hell I bought yesterday.
You had a good time at the auction?
Yeah, it was really bad status.
It's probably, I'm going to mute me because when I go in the kitchen, it gets static.
Yeah, the Amory.
Yeah, actually, I did pretty well at the auction, I think. I mean, nothing's 100%.
Uh-huh.
I bought that thing back there. And it's one of two things. It's either it's made by Abe ADB Systems, which does airport lighting. And by airport lighting, I'm talking about like runway lighting and things like that for the airplanes.
Right.
And it's a computer, obviously, and it's got like different light sets and everything. Now, I was told it was a training system, but when I looked into it a little bit more, I think it's actually just a portable terminal for their lighting systems because there's ways to plug in external lights and everything.
Right.
I paid $5 for it.
Wow.
And I don't know if it works. It takes a standard computer core, but it's 230 volts, so it's probably foreign. So I don't really know because I've got on this company's website and they're all over the country, so it's hard to tell. I'm actually going to take a picture of it and email it to the company and say, any idea what this is, and see if we can go from there.
Right.
But like I said, for $5, the case is really nice. It's cool, and if I can, get airplane collectors out there that might be interested in something like that, it would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I bought you've heard of 6-star cutlery? Pull it up.
Oh.
Ooh. Very nice.
Now, I've sold a knife block before from this company, and I got $60 from the knife block. I've actually never had it. It doesn't have all the knives, but I think it's missing like 2. So I have no idea what it's really worth. And it was the last thing I bought, and it was kind of towards the end of the auction. And I got it for $1.
Wow.
I think that's a good score. I'm going to guess that's probably between 100 and 125 with all the knives.
Yeah.
Kind of have to wait and see.
That's what I would say.
I got my favorite piece. I got two things I really like is an old trunk.
Ooh.
Original stickers on it. Now, the interesting backstory to this is I know the guy who can sign this. He's actually an auctioneer buddy of mine. And we've even got some papers in it. He bought a huge lot at auction. He's an auctioneer, so he buys and sells at auctions as well. And when he bought it, it actually still had paperwork from the Hindenburg, the person who had this flew on the Hindenburg. And so he actually saved all the paperwork. He's selling the Hindenburg paperwork because he's more of an ephemera type guy anyway.
That was a blimp, right?
Yeah, that's the one that blew up. And so if you look on eBay, he for original Hindenburg pamphlets, he's the guy selling them. And he said all that paperwork came in that case.
I don't really remember anything about that.
Just Google Hindenburg. You can actually watch it blow up. But it was actually the premier Zeppelin of the German, for the Germans, back in the 30s.
Right.
And I paid $10 for that. I bought it because I didn't even know the backstory on it at the time, but I bought it because it's got original travel stickers on it, and that's what people want. And it's small.
Right.
It's so cool, and the fact that it's small enough that it's not a huge trunk. Most people can't deal with a huge trunk, but a small piece like that,
right?
Pretty neat. I got an original Kirby vacuum cleaner, which I don't normally buy vacuum cleaners, but this is brand new in the box with 3 separate attachments.
Wow.
They're the gold. It's the Kirby Classic.
Oh yeah.
Miracle Waxer, and I said, and it's never been used. This is just one of the accessories, and they're brand new still here.
Yeah, I'm still selling. I found some kind of cleaning system, and it was Kirby, and it had all the attachment things in it to do like carpet cleaning, and every once in a while I get a sell on those.
Yep.
But they sell.
Little mini lane.
Oh yeah.
Peter chests. These were promos that were given out by the local companies, and like this is a local.
I still have
cool.
I still have mom and dad's box.
I bought some clothing that actually had a
Your
bunch of
lane
shotgun
box,
shells.
Valerie.
What's that?
I said I still have mom and dad's lane box like that.
Lane box.
Yeah, the one that Eric just showed, the little cedar chest.
I didn't know that they had something like that.
Yeah, Yeah, they both got them for their graduation from high school.
Really?
Hmm.
I bought this. This is a hunting jacket. And what's kind of cool is it actually came with all the ammo still in the
Oh, that's
and it's
interesting.
actually 16 gauge, which is kind of an unusual round. But I actually have 16 gauge shotguns, so. But the hunting jacket is actually kind of interesting. I don't know the brand, but it's actually marked with the date.
Cool.
So,
Oh, nice.
but there's a few other things that were in that same.
That's like antique, isn't it? That's antique.
77. Here's something that's actually not worth a whole lot. I'm just fascinated by these.
Ooh, what is that? Wait.
The 3D camera.
Ooh.
I got it in the case, and this was actually somebody just gave this to me. They didn't want it, and it's actually still new in the package.
Huh.
Wow.
Again, not worth a whole lot. I don't even know if it's worth listing, but it was free, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Nope.
Again, I don't normally buy too strange of things, but a little bit of damage on the top. But and this is actually supposed to be. It's got the holes like it was actually, tied onto something. Yeah, it's just inner piece. It's just weird.
Yep.
The only reason I bought this, I don't normally buy stuff like this, but I wanted the paperwork that was with it, and it's for an REO flying cloud. And this should be in the 30s. Oh, I'm sorry, 1929. So that's a manual for how to run your REO flying cloud, 1929 original. So
Ooh.
Nice.
that was cool. I like that. Second favorite find.
Ooh, pretty.
I have 3 of these.
Nice.
So these are cool.
Do they have a brand on them or no?
I have not even looked at them.
Oh.
To be honest. There's a leather jacket that was, or leather vest. It's a leather hunting vest. That was in with that clothing lot. I bought like 5 or 6 baseball bats. I got some really cool baseball gloves that are really old. I got a CD boombox. When I bought the baseball bats, they fit the CD boombox in, but you get old gloves like this, collectors love.
Yep.
Old baseball gloves. I mean, just for a bit cool. They're not really worth anything. What was nice is in the lot was like a fairly new catcher's mitt of the ball. So that'll pay for the whole lot. Fairly quick. There's a nice old glove.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like super old. So this one doesn't even have fingers or anything. So I'm not real sure when this one dates from. So that's going to take a bit of research. These are cool. Oh, I got some 8-track tapes that were thrown in. What else? I think that's about it. I spent $230 total. That's tax and buyer's premium and everything. But the lights were the majority of it. The lights were $40 a piece. So I think I'll get 100 a quarter for the lights. So that's that's $375 for just for the lights. The knife block, another 100 a quarter. That's $5. The Kirby stuff I have no idea, but I paid $10 for all of it, so I knew that was a good deal. I mean, the baseball bats. There's some really nice, some DeMarini baseball bats in there, so I figure there's probably another $150 in baseball bats. I mean, I'm going to turn $233 into probably close to $1,000.
Right.
So
Right.
that's an
turnaround. Good turnover.
It should turn fairly quick too. The baseball bats will go up quick. The ball glove will go up. I'm going to do some research on the stickers on this trunk. The trunk is kind of my unknown. I have no idea what it's worth.
Right.
But I figure it's 30s German stickers. I should be able to look at some of the hotels and things on there, maybe get some history on them, and just kind of try to place it to see, because if it's pre-World War II, some of these hotels were probably bombed out. So
yeah,
I might be able to figure that stuff out. But
You got some research to do.
yeah, that's the fun part of it. Buying it's easy.
Yep.
It doesn't take much to stick your hand up and just spend some money. So
Yep.
But trying to get max value out of it. I mean, and I got outbid on a lot of things, but not too much. It was a huge crowd. I posted a video. I don't know if anybody saw it or not. It's not my video. It's the guy actually owns the suitcase. He was taking a video. His name's Adrian, and he took a video just kind of showing what the auction was like. It's on my page. You guys should have access to it.
Yeah, I seen it.
Dang it, Eric. What else did
What?
you see? What else did you show? I missed it. Next time you say that you're gonna show your lot, you need to give me 5 minutes for bathroom break or something. I almost peed myself. I'm like sitting here dancing, and I'm like, shit, I gotta go.
I'm sorry. Did Sally say to anybody she had to go? She'll be right back.
Nope.
Perhaps the person who's leaving should tell us that they're leaving and say, "Oh, hey, hang on, wait a minute."
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell 50 people that they get.
He was dancing too much.
All you had to do is say, "Hang on, I'll be right back." We just assume you're getting a smoking treatment or something.
You found him, Megan. She found her rainbow leg warmers too.
Oh my God.
Woohoo!
I want to know is how can you guys talk about weight without at least having one of the guy fat bastards on here? Come on.
Well, I'm glad you showed up.
I was skinny in high school.
Were you?
Yep.
It's easier for men. I mean, it just is because of the whole society thing. It's easier for guys. I mean, I know maybe inside you it's not easy, but
I mean, weight is what it is. I mean, when you're kids, you just don't know any better. And that's basically when you're a teenager, you're stupid.
yeah.
You just don't know what you don't know. I mean, I have that argument with my son who's turning 14 this year. I mean, doesn't help that he's autistic, but he's a teenager still. And
Right.
It's amazing what he doesn't know because he just doesn't know he doesn't know it. He thinks he knows things. I mean, I got to repair his computer because he thinks he knows how to fix it. And it said, I got to fix it now. So, but he just doesn't understand. And, hell, when I was a teen, I didn't understand about stuff like that. I didn't understand. I mean, I grew up poor. I mean, I grew up dirt poor. I was fine until my parents got divorced. And then after that, yeah. We talk about not having any, I grew up with no electricity. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I lived in a very nice house. It just didn't have any power because my mom couldn't afford a power bill. And, the good thing is back then, we were on a well and septic and all that. So, I mean, you had all those things, but you just didn't have electricity.
Yeah.
Had a nice fireplace for, and I grew up in Ohio and winters get a little chilly, but, it doesn't bother me at all to sleep in 20-degree weather. If I throw, enough stuff on top of you, you're fine. So,
Yeah.
but, I mean, you just weight, clothing, all that stuff. You just don't realize how stupid people are.
Yeah, I mean that's the
You have to survive high school and you get out and get in the real world and you will realize how dumb you really are. I mean, there isn't a single person on this panel that once they hit 30, realize what kind of stupid idiot they were in high school.
well, and that those people, that don't care about you, they don't matter.
They don't.
Once high school's done, they are not.
I will tell you,
They're not going to be part of your life, so they don't matter.
Here's my observation from the high school idiots that were the people that judged everybody. If you go back on your 25-year high school reunion and you start talking to people, you realize those people peaked in high school. They never did anything more than that. I've got a lot of friends that I went to high school with that are, they're not close friends, they're Facebook friends and stuff like that. It's nice to be on their Facebook and, we sometimes reminisce a little bit, but those weren't the people that were the in crowd or anything back then. They were all kind of the social outcast or on the fringe, and those people were very successful. I had one of my best friends growing up. He's the head of the, oh God, I'll get it wrong because I'm not real good with this. The Protestant Theological Seminary. He travels the world speaking. I got another friend who retired at 49. I mean, totally retired. She got a retirement package from GE, and she has a lot of money, and all she does is travel now. My hat's off to them.
Right.
I just sold a Butterfinger for $10.
Way to go.
I feel successful today too.
I made a counter offer on my book press, but the guy hasn't come back yet. So, but I sold a couple things. I sold some decent stuff yesterday, and so that's all shipped out. But I got a couple packages to ship today. So. They pay before 2 o'clock. It goes out the same day.
Yeah.
Now, Megan, we were all stupid back then.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like I was stupid. I just feel like I did know better.
Because you didn't realize that people flapping their gums didn't really matter. But it affected you back then. And you were just didn't realize that you just weren't mature enough to handle the fact that it just means nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I could care less what anybody thinks about me or anything like that.
That's how I am
that way for a long time. I got that way early.
And
But I grew up with people.
I mean,
that were
probably my senior year. My senior year, I was like, screw these people. And, I did my own thing, and, I had my group of friends. So I wasn't worried about other people at that time anyways, but I still wasn't as outgoing as I should have been, like in my freshman year. I mean,
yeah.
I wish that I could go back to my freshman year, even when I was a senior, because I was like, I missed so much.
Well, freshman was pretty, because where I went to school you had 7, 8, and 9 all went to school together. So you didn't have freshmen in high school. The high school only had sophomore, junior, and seniors. But I was fine. I was weird because I got tired of school early, and so I finished up my junior year, and I started to go my senior year, and realized, you know what, I need to get out. I need to start working more. And so I went to my counselor and had a discussion with them about what do I need to graduate, because I'd taken so many classes. I never took study hall or anything like that. And I literally needed a government class and 1 English class, and that I would give me enough credits to graduate. And I'm like, I'm taking a bunch of bullshit that I don't really care about.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and I said, well, is there a way I can get this done fast? She said, well, it's a year. Government's a year. I'm like, well, that is going to suck. I hate coming to school for an hour and a half every day. And so she said, well, we have night school. And I'm like, what's night school? She's like, yeah, you can go to night school and take this. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'll do that. So I basically stopped going my senior year. I went to night school to finish everything up, and I finished my night school English and government in 6 weeks.
Wow.
It was so remedial. It was pathetic. I was reading through the book and getting everything done because there was no teaching. It was you basically learn out of a stupid book.
Yeah.
And I was done in that time period. And so I graduated with my classes, my credits, went to my class. I was just working. Butterfinger.
This is the Smoking Hot edition. It has a jalapeno inside but it's just hot chocolate.
That's just disgusting.
I know.
That's just almost blaspheming.
It's
Somebody
called Smoking Hot.
$10.
But see, it says limited edition.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff sells. I sold all,
And I bet those
all that I had of my cherry cheesecake, my my cherry cheesecake, Hershey bars, and all of my Kit Kats that were strawberry flavored. I sold all those.
That's good.
Yeah. I did like $5 a piece on those. So, and I got them for.
You're charging shipping too, right?
Well, no, with the $5, that's all I got. With like, I was charging $5 a bar.
What, $277 to ship them?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you pay?
But I was getting them for 88 cents.
Yeah, you're making $1.50 on each one then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I decided this is a king size bar, so I'm gonna charge $10.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, you got to try. I mean, you'll find the market, and like I said, and you've sold a bunch of that stuff already. So
Yeah.
You just got to, you got to make sure you're not stuck with a bunch of chocolate. So buy what you want to, that you can deal with, and then if it's out the next time you go, you're done with it at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing about food is you got to make sure you got to dance that tightrope where it's still available to me, but is it selling? So
Yeah. Well, I looked
My
on.
thing I like about food.
Huh.
My thing I like about selling food is if it doesn't sell, you can always eat it.
Right.
I wouldn't eat a Butterfinger jalapeno. I wouldn't even contemplate.
Yeah. I would probably give it as a gift or something, like a gag gift. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Megan Carl says, yeah, strawberry flavored Kit Kats. Yeah, they tasted like strawberry milkshake. And they sold quick. And I had like 10 of each, and they sold quick.
Maybe I should sell. Maybe I should sell some strawberry M&Ms. Like they got strawberry M&Ms out now.
Yeah, and they have caramel too.
Well, the key with it is you got to find that exclusive,
Really good,
weird tasting thing like the Butterfinger jalapenos that they're not going to make a lot of because they know they're just trying it out, and kind of go from there. I mean, that's the real key with it, is to find that one thing that people get hooked on real quick, but they can't get anymore.
Well, and that's what I was going to say with the Butterfinger Smoking Hot. There's none listed on eBay.
Oh.
So I was like, yes, I'll have the first listing.
Yeah, and like I said, you want to be done with it by when everybody else jumps on that listing.
Yep.
I mean, that's the key with it. You're done. You got in, you got your money, you get out, and then let everybody else go find it and try to sell it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that way you don't have to worry too much about it. But that's unique ways of sourcing to bring a little bit of income in. And like I said, the $10 candy bar, you're going to make $6 or $7 on.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to look at stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't always have to sell $200 items.
Nope.
Right.
If you sell $200 items, but you don't have to.
I know.
That'd be great.
So what have y'all been getting into?
Swimsuits. I listed a bunch of swimsuits yesterday. Still have a lot to do.
And my local thrift store literally gets all the Victoria's Secret overstock donations.
Ooh, nice.
And it's not unusual to walk in there and see big, giant rolling bins of swimsuit bottoms or swimsuit tops. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was the tops. Last time I was there, it was the tops for 99 cents a piece.
Woo.
And the Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, if you can get those for that cheap, you could be making some money on those.
Oh yeah, you can. It's something. It's women's clothing, and you're dealing with bust size, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it.
With swimsuits, I don't even measure. I don't.
Yeah.
If they have tags, I just list what the tag says.
Yeah.
Unless it looks like it's been like the strap has been resewn or something.
They're brand new. They're brand new. Victoria's Secret cuts the Victoria's Secret tag to let people know that way that you can't be returned to your store. That once the tag is cut, they know that's their little mark for it's not returnable. And then they donate it all. But last time I saw it, I think it was in December when I saw the big donation. But it's not unusual. Like I said, I bought a bunch of those pink dogs that they had.
Mhm.
I bought like 20 of those, and they were 99 cents a piece. And I think I've sold all of them. I don't think I have any left at this point. And I was getting $15.99 for a pair. So I mean, I got $160 out of a $20 investment.
Yeah, there was I just got a message the other day from somebody that I had a lot of underwear. They were all Victoria's Secret and high-end brands. And they asked, they went to my listing for a bra,
Mm-hmm.
and then they asked if I had any other underwear yet. And I was like, no, I don't have any. But I mean, they're just new without tags. So
yeah, that's the key. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, you can go to your thrift store and pick up, bras and do very well with them if you know what you're doing. I mean, I've sold large. I mean, D and G size bras. Those are the ones that sell the best. But I mean, I've sold them. It's just not a thing I'm really super interested in selling. I mean, they do all right. $15-$20 for a bra. Nothing wrong with it. I'd rather buy this crap here and sell it. And I sell clothing. Don't get me wrong. I'll sell clothing all day long. I've got a bin full of probably has half bras and women's clothing and stuff like that. I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. I like clothing because it's easy and it's simple and you really don't have to think a whole lot about it. And it brings in okay money.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with clothing making okay money. Because I mean, it's if you can get $25 out of a shirt, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. That's kind of my threshold. I want to be making at least $20 to $25 on my items. I mean, I kind of, my average ticket, or what I call average ticket, my average sale is $26. So when you take what I made last year, you divide it by everything I sold, it's $26.
Yeah. Mine's not that high. Mine is between 10 and 20.
So you have to sell twice as much to make the same amount of money as I do.
Probably.
So and there's and I sell things for $5. So don't get me. I mean, I sold a book press for $200 a couple.
And
days
then
ago.
also most of my inventory is for free. So,
you have no inventory costs, which helps your bottom line profit. That's
right.
That's the nice thing. Whereas I spent $230 yesterday. But if you can keep your average ticket, what you sell for things for, at an average $25 to $30, you can make a living doing this.
Yeah.
If you keep it less, you can still make a living. You just got to work twice as hard.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of the ways to measure business, but that's probably and I come from a long line of retail, and that is what we look at as retail. They want to know what the average customer spends in your store every time they come in the store.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't spend, you can't survive without, repeat customers. We don't deal with too much of repeat customers, but they, if 20 people come to your store and they spend $5, or 20 people come in and spend $25, that's the difference between making it and breaking it.
Right.
I mean, they measure in retail. They measure everything. They measure how much the person who actually grabs a cart is going to spend, as opposed to the hand basket, as opposed to nothing. They have that all measured out.
I'm gonna look up my average again.
Last time you were right around $11, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. $12.98.
So you actually raised it a couple dollars.
That's good.
It takes a lot to raise your average ticket. I mean, it's hard to go from a $10 average ticket. You sold 1,000 items last year, and we measure a rolling year to make that to $20. I mean, you're going to have to sell a lot to get that up to that $20 thing.
Yep.
So, but that's good.
You're raising all the time. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key. Is if you get it up to the point where you're over $20 and you're keeping that average, you're not really going down, you're going to see a huge difference. That's going to get you into close to full time. I mean, look at how much you need to make to survive and make full-time money. And if you sell $25 as your average ticket, you sell 150 items a month, that's going to be a little bit more than what, $4 grand, 2,500. Yeah, that's about 3,750. Take out your taxes and cost of goods and all that, you're probably getting a third of that. You're probably getting about $2,500 into your pocket every month, and that's free and clear. I mean, most people don't make $2,500 in a month after taxes and everything.
Right.
Yeah, so your goal is turns and ticket. I'm sorry, I think I brought the chat down while talking about business.
Yep.
Check out my Patreon channel. You can actually
Yeah.
get personal things. Yeah, I'm just joking. I don't do any stuff like that.
Yeah, this
That's
is
a fascinating business prospect. I mean, I have thought about it because it's actually kind of fascinating that people are going into and Patreon, if you don't know, you can Google it, look it out, is you basically, if I understand it correctly, is you pledge X amount of dollars to the person and you get private videos. Some of the people are doing private, like private hangouts like we do here, to where, you know, coaching, it's basically coaching from a business side. I mean, there's other things. I mean, a lot of people are on Patreon that are, you know, doing private videos, and Dusty talks about all the time the sailboat people who live on sailboats, and that's all they do. They do a lot of private videos. You get a lot more of the risque shots, shall we say, more back, you know, access, because you're paying for that access. They give you more than what gets put on YouTube. But I thought about, you know, starting a coaching type deal going on. I'm not real sure, you know.
yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you know what you're, you know, talking about and you're not giving bad information or whatever.
Well, I mean, we've all looked at everybody's stores, and we all sit back and realize that we all can improve. I'm not, my God, you look at some of my listings, I'm like, what, I need to delist that and just either start over or redo the entire listing, because it's older stuff. I mean, and as you evolve, you get better at doing this work. But doing private chats and stuff like that, and the hangouts that we do together, I mean, we try to raise each other's business up.
Right.
You know, that's the whole point. I mean, and we do it for free because we like each other and we hang out and do all this type of stuff, and we try to give as much information as possible. But it's a little different than when you actually have somebody who you trust, who has a good business model, sits down and looks at your store from a total, this is a business standpoint. This is what I'm looking at, and this is what I think you need to improve. You know, that's good advice. There's nothing wrong with going out there and getting, you know, good, solid advice. I mean, we've done it live on the show before, where we actually had a guy, name was Matt, I think it was, give us his store idea. We actually went through his store and we gave him some areas to improve on, and it worked. I mean, we just talked to him a week or so ago.
Oh, really?
And we actually, you know, saying about maybe having to come back on and just kind of, hey, you know, where have you been now? It's been 4 or 5 months. And I mean, he says he's doing really well with it now, because he was struggling for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the type of stuff that I mean, can be valuable. I mean, you can go on YouTube and get a lot of the same advice, but you're going to get a lot of, it's a little different when you watching a video as to actually having a personal interaction with people. You know, because I can sit there and make a video saying you should do this, but I don't know your situation.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what your skill level is. I mean, I don't know if you struggle with typing, you struggle with taking photos, but, you know, so, you know, when you do these type of shows and stuff, we're talking very, very, very generics, because it's hard to be specific.
Right.
But that's something I'm contemplating, because I'm really not good with. I don't mind giving advice away free. It doesn't bother me. I don't make money on YouTube. I don't do any of this. I do this stuff because I enjoy it. But turning it into business, I worry about sucking the joy out of it.
Right.
I help people privately all the time for free.
It's kind of the fun part of it. Yeah, but I spent the last 15 years training people, so I'm used to being able to talk like that and talk about training and what you need to do to be better and making plans and all that type of stuff. How's everybody listings going? Getting them up?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good actually. I got about 20 up yesterday, but
You still 10 a
for
day?
some reason my sales are just struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they're down a little.
Even though,
It comes and it goes. I mean, I think the weather is the biggest challenge for most people right now. I mean, when you come out of the winter time and
Yeah.
people are working in their yards, doing the house maintenance, suddenly they're doing things that they're not sitting on the computer for.
right.
And it'll come back because they'll get caught up with all that stuff and they'll realize, I want to get back and start shopping, or, maybe now I need stuff that I didn't think I needed before.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to put a bunch of baseball bats up, so seasonally things are starting to move again. If you got baseball and summer type stuff in your store, I got some wakeboards I need to put up. That's more of a got to sell it now type thing, and people start looking for it. And
Right.
all those wakeboards I've had them for over a year sitting there staring at me.
But that's the thing too, is I mean, it's inevitable that people are going to have days where you don't have sales every day, and it's just part of it.
When I first got back on eBay, and I got away from it from a listing a lot of stuff. I always had an eBay account. I've had one since under different names because I'd get away from it and come back. But I started selling on eBay in 97, 98, somewhere right in that time period. I know I was selling in 98. I don't remember if I was selling in 97. But when I first got back into it, after I moved back into this house here, and said, what, I need to really think about making eBay a job, to where I'm actually, instead of just picking up the occasional home run and listing, because that's what I was a home run lister. You
Right.
find a really cool item, it's worth a lot of money, you throw it on eBay, you move on. And I wouldn't list anything for 3 months because I just sold something for $3,000 or $4,000. I mean, I was looking for that type of stuff. My goal was to have one sale a day, and I thought if I was getting one sale a day, I was doing well. So that was where I started out. I went 31 items a day, and I was selling at the time at average right around $20 to $25. So it's not a lot. I mean, that's only bringing in $750, $800 a month. And so I realized, I need to really ramp the game up. So, okay, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Now I sell, between 4 and 5 items a day on an average. Some days I don't sell anything. Some
Right.
days I sell 12 things. I mean, it's just kind of weird.
But the way that especially like with school clothes and stuff, like people are going to be looking into that.
Oh yeah.
Here in a month or so, they're going to be focusing on school clothes and
school
so,
ends on June 1st for my son, and so suddenly it's not school centric; it's outdoor playing and things like that for most people.
right.
But in about a month and a half, come the end of July, they're starting to think, okay, now I got to start thinking about school clothes and what I want to get. And your kids are growing, and it's time to maybe upgrade a little bit in what they're wearing.
Right.
And you have to kind of plan for stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
it's very seasonal. I listed a bunch of Hawaiian shirts. I've done really well with them because this is kind of the Hawaiian shirt weather. I wear Hawaiian shirts all the time.
Christmas items sell really good in July and August too.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. July is because Christmas in July starts people thinking about it, and then a lot of the stores like Ollie's will put a lot of Christmas decorations on sale in July to clean out last year's inventory.
Yeah,
because they know they're getting a huge load coming in August, and they'll put it up in September. So you have to kind of think about stuff like that, and whatever the stores are changing over seasonality, you need to think like that too, because it gets people thinking about that, and then they start looking for better deals online. But yeah, don't be afraid to tear apart your business model and look at it and rip it out and see, is this working or not? Don't stick with something that's not working.
Right.
I mean, I was having problems with lost inventory, and I just completely douched both my stores.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, and you sometimes have to,
I do not advise anybody to do that, by the way.
if you struggle to find your merchandise, then yes, you need to come up with an. There's no doubt about that, because all that's going to do is get you booted off of eBay.
Right.
You get thrown off of eBay because you've had too many cancels because you can't find the items. You're not getting back on easily. Yeah, but you're going to be jumping through a lot of hoops and doing a lot of crazy stuff, and that's just not worth the hassle.
Luckily, all my items that I couldn't find, I just purchased on Amazon, and I got lucky that most of them were, I still made a profit purchasing them off of Amazon and sending them to somebody. But yeah, I mean, I get this horrible gut ache, and then, oh yeah, I can't find this, and yeah, I'd be out in the freezing cold looking for the damn thing for hours, and it's like, nope, I need to start fresh.
I've had it happen like 3 times.
To me, that was just the easiest way to go about it. But for other people, yeah, just go through your inventory and check it and make sure you got everything. I had over almost 2,000 items on both my stores, and I just figured, you know what, just douching the whole thing is the easiest way to go about it. Telling anybody to do that, because I can go a few weeks without selling anything, and I'm okay. While you're building your store back up, you might not get sales. You have to remember that too before you do something like that.
Yeah, I had 400 items in my store, and I was able to inventory them in about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Now I have everything in totes or boxes, and I have a few things sitting on shelves, but most of it's in totes or boxes. And so what I would do is I just brought out a box, and I said, and it's box 1. Open it up. Everything that's in there, I would go in and I would put a locator. I would put a B1 in the SKU field of each listing. Once I was done with that box, I slide it off the side, and I did that with all my boxes. My totes I did not inventory because my totes is segregated by, that's where I have clothing in. So I have men's shirts, men's jeans, men's jackets. I have a tote, just women's clothing. Then I have totes of sweaters. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to inventory that. That stays the same. I never change those. So all my smalls, which is what I was having trouble finding, I had a little fishing reel I couldn't find. So I took a negative on that one. I had to cancel the order. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go with this, and that's what I do now. Now when I list, what I do is I bring, if I have a box that's mostly empty, I'll go grab that box, which I just did a few minutes ago. I'll drop that box down here, and as I list, I'll put that item, it's listed, I put in the SKU, it's going to go back into box 3. Boom, and I'll fill that box back up and put it back on my shelf. So that way I know that, and as I'm listening and I'm sitting there putting it away, I know exactly where it's at, and it's not sitting around here. There's nothing worse than having unlisted mixed in with listed inventory. That's how you get confused, and how sometimes you end up with double listing, or maybe you have a pile that's not worth anything because you bought a bunch of crap at auction, and you're going like, okay, that's not worth anything, so I'm going to go ahead and pitch it, and things get mixed in, and you don't realize you just threw away something you listed. It's tough. I mean, you got to get control of it, because if you want to make a living, you got to have a decent amount of items in your store. Unless you have a super hot item, which is rare. Most people don't have that. But you got to have some sort of control. And your control is whatever it is that you want to do.
Right.
Yeah, I tore my store apart for hours looking for that stupid fishing reel, and I couldn't find it. And I found it about a week later. Yeah. It was inside of something else that it should have been, and just furious. I was mad at anybody else. I was mad at myself.
I've always found things again, but yeah, too late.
Yeah, it's too late. I mean, and I actually had to have my daughter help me on 2 separate items. I could not find them because I have an extra bedroom that I have all my listed inventory in. And at the time, I had listed and unlisted inventory in that room because I just had no space. And I tore apart everything I had on eBay, couldn't find it. And I said, I just need your help finding this thing. And she came in and she found it. It was mixed in with my unlisted inventory. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know how that happened. I never mixed these two. And so that's when I made the decision that the room now is just listed. And my back room over here is unlisted. I'm like, I just have to do it. I cannot afford to make mistakes like that. I can't risk my business because of my own stupidity.
Yep.
Right.
And that's, I mean, Jim Kuhncat just made a good point. Last time he did inventory, he found things he thought he had listed but didn't. When I rearranged my room, I had stuff on a shelf that was listed. I sit there and I was going through because I was putting them in bins and locating them because I wanted to get rid of the stuff I had on the shelf, put it in boxes, and I found like 20 things that I thought were up. I've been staring at them for over a year, going, boy, I thought those things would have moved by now. I mean, Starbucks mugs,
Yeah,
you know.
I did that too, but I think some of mine were like taken down because of Vero things, you know, like how they just take them down.
Oh, I don't do anything against Vero, so I don't worry about that. But,
Well, no, like I didn't know the thing about Velcro,
oh, Velcro listing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and so they actually sent me an email on that one, but I think when I was just new, they sent me emails and I didn't know what they were talking about, and so I just kind of ignored it. And then, you know, I go and start looking for stuff that I think is listed, and yeah, it's not. So
Yeah, and a lot of that happens. I mean, your listing runs out, or your chain makes some changes, and or you sold something that gets canceled, and it doesn't get relisted because you have to go in and physically relist it.
mhm.
I think there's a lot of that stuff. But I mean, stuff that I found, I've actually already started selling it. You know, which is kind of silly. I mean, I had money sitting there, I didn't even realize wasn't listed.
Yeah.
Those are the things that frustrate. That's when you know your business, you're not in complete control of your business, and that's what you got to do.
Yep.
That was on me. That's not on anybody else. That's not on eBay. And eBay may have been an eBay glitch where it didn't get relisted. That's not their fault. I should be aware of that stuff.
Yep.
And that's why I do inventory now. Probably about every 6 months, I go through and I just validate what I have is what I have. And it's really easy when you have everything bin located because you can just get a box. I go out and I grab box B5, come out here and I sort my listings by box B5. And is it all in here? Yep. If I have something that's not in there, I'm like, okay, I need to look this up, see if I maybe I put it in the wrong box, but maybe it got delisted.
Use the numbered
Yeah.
bin system, and it's the easiest system out there. But as long as you follow it, you know.
Yeah, you're the only person that can control that.
Yep, exactly. No, I don't blame anybody but myself. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, you're starting over, so it's actually easier when you start over. You know, but you got a lot of culling to do, Nikki. You got to go through your whole inventory and then just get everything, what's worth listing, what's not worth listing, and either donate or yard sale it, one or the other two, and just clean it up. Once you get all that done, you'll be back into shape. I mean, because when you buy like Nikki does, Nikki likes to buy boxes at auction, which I do too. Nothing wrong with that. You make good money on it, but you end up with a lot of crap sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you gotta take the bad with the good.
Yep. So I mean, the good thing is the auction I was at last night. It was take what you want, leave what you don't. They'll get rid of it. So I'm like, okay, I don't need this poster of, I can't remember what it was, a stupid poster. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't want it. It's not going to sell anyway. And so I'm done with it. So I just left it there. I try not to buy too much crap, but sometimes you end up with, I left 3 leather jackets that weren't any good because it was part of this lot here. And I just grabbed the good stuff out of it. But I mainly bought it because it had full box of shotgun shells, and I didn't pay $5 for the box. I think I paid like $3 for the whole lot. And the box of shotgun shells about $8 for 16 gauge.
Well, that's what that's like I was saying with the when I was doing when I would take pictures of items and take pictures prior to doing the listing. A lot of those I would have the pictures, but something would happen where I didn't get the listing done, or some kind of excuse, and those items would go into the list as if they were listed already. So there was a lot of things that weren't listed. And so with this one, the way that I do it, making the drafts, I mean, I know that sounds a little redundant, but it actually it confirms that things are actually getting listed. And it's, to me, it's just a better system for me.
Yeah, it's a system. I mean, I use the opposite. I take pictures and then I list, but because I'm actually inventorying at the same time. And what the way it is, I have a dual monitor system for this computer right here. I have another computer that I do Hangouts on. So I have 3 screens on my desk. I have a huge desk. This screen right here always has my pictures up. And so I take pictures with my camera. They automatically load to my computer because I have an iFi card. And they go in. And so when I'm sitting here, I'm on my listing. I'm looking over here, and I just go through and I list in the order of the pictures I took. And as I finish, okay, I've been located. I drops into the bin. I know that item's listed. I use the pictures. If I turn around and I've got 20 things still sitting there, and I've got pictures up, and I didn't list them, and I know what I'm doing with them. It's a process, you know.
Right.
Pictures, list, inventory. Pictures, list, inventory. I do it that way all the time now.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and that's part of the reason why I redid my whole room, because I needed a little bit better flow to run that system. I was always kind of half-assing it, and things were getting away because I had 2 picture locations. I had a big, huge armoire that I'm getting rid of. I mean, I had a lot of stuff in this little area. I had a full-size 1930s radio I got rid of. So, yeah, it's things like that where I'm cleaning up my area so that it makes me more efficient. You know, I can crawl to the bathroom if I have too much to drink. Stuff like that where my whole area is cleaned up now. I can actually work more efficiently, and I feel better about it, because I get to the point where if I get like right now, this is driving me crazy. There's so much crap right here.
Machine's quick.
And so I get to the point where I get brain locked and I can't move. Yeah, but I just brought this stuff in, so I'm going to slide it over to my unlisted area, and then I'll slowly work through it.
Yeah.
Black. Jim Kukan asked, which iFi card are you using? I have an old one that is no longer supported, but it still works locally for my computer. If you're going to buy an iFi card, go to iFi and buy their card. It's $60. Okay. Sucks. I bought my card, and then they dropped support for my entire generation of card like 3 months later. But their card is fantastic, and it works great. I take a picture, and it's automatically loads into my picture file. I never have to do it. It wasn't a big deal to take the card out, pop it in there, but it saves me time.
There's no key in it. Should I just list it?
And the nice thing about it is it actually puts them in by date, so I know that I just open today's date and there's all my pictures. And they're twitchy. I mean, mine is at least. It's a little twitchy. Sometimes it doesn't feel like loading.
But now.
And I don't know if it's the camera or if it's the card. When the battery gets low on the camera, the cards draw power from the battery, so it doesn't go through your batteries. I have rechargeable batteries in my camera. They're special Nikon batteries, but they're like $3 for a new one if I need one. But I can usually take about 100, 150 pictures before I have to change the battery anyway.
Right.
And I keep like 4 in rotation. So I've always got like 4 that are charged, and I just rotate them through. But yeah, it's iFi card is really good, but it's a cost. It's a business tool. Once you buy it and once you get used to it and get it understanding what it is, you'll never go back. iFi card is a Wi-Fi card that looks like an SD. It's a Wi-Fi SD card that connects to your local computer, and actually just when you take a picture, it transmits the picture to your computer.
Wow.
You're not having to plug your camera in or take the card out and pop it in. A lot of people use their phone. My phone does not do well with pictures up close. I've got a nice camera, so I've never really gotten comfortable using my phone. I have an Android. If I had an iCloud or an iPhone, iPhone's a little bit different. So you got
That, yeah.
Oh, you see this?
I like it. There's other companies out there, but iFi is the best one, and go to their website and then buy the card they recommend. It'll be more expensive, but write it off. It's a business tool.
I just seen Blackberry Thistle Tea's question. Did you guys answer that already?
Nope.
I haven't yet. We were talking.
I have eaten a banana, Dusty. Shut up. My biggest mistake was I wouldn't fill out the item specifics. Now, especially with doing some clothing, I make sure to fill out all the item specifics I can. I even go kind of overboard, and like if something has like different you know, different things like say I have an item that, you know, it has what is the word I'm looking for? Like, it can do different things.
Dual purpose.
Yeah, well, not even that, just like it has different qualities or different qualities isn't the word I'm looking for though. Huh?
Attributes.
Well, yeah, like say I have
That'd be
say I
forever
have a
commodity.
stereo. Say I have a stereo and it has a CD player and it has a AM FM radio and it has, you know, tape player, whatever. I list each of those, you know, as
You added into the item specifics.
I can't remember the word I'm looking for.
Like you said, different features.
Help me, Dusty.
What?
I'm losing my mind. Components.
What?
Yeah, I mean that's not those. It's not the word I use though.
What are you talking about?
Item
Like-
specific. She's trying to come up with some crazy unknown thing. That it's just being Sally being Sally. That's all.
Features. Jason Hoffer got it. Features. So I put in the item specifics. I put feature 1, tape player. Feature 2, CD player. Feature 3, AM FM radio. You know, like that. So I go above and beyond. You know, I try to go above and beyond with, you know, stuff like that, and even clothing. You know, if
You add all extra item specifics?
I do.
I think it's a waste of time. I mean, I think it's not. I mean, I'm
You're
just
a waste of time.
I think it's a waste. It's not a waste of time to use the ones that are there, and if you need to add an extra one, whatever. But like on that CD player, I wouldn't add all those extras though. All that's already in your title.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Like for clothing, I put
Options is another one. Yep.
like for the clothing listing, I'll put the measurements in the item specifics.
Yeah.
I do the same
That's
thing.
Yeah, I could
it's the
see
best.
that, but it's. I mean, you're not like seriously adding like 10 different new item specifics.
No.
Item though, are
No,
you?
not like 10, but maybe a few. But I, you know, I was in trouble with eBay when I first started because I did okay. You know, I was, you know, just barely doing anything, maybe getting a sale a week or whatever. And then started doing really good to where I was getting like one sale a day. And then, and I did that for a little bit and then I got in trouble and I got suspended. And then I could only list 10 items. And I had to build, I was below standard, had to build myself back up. And now I'm a super trooper, or whatever you want to call it.
One trooper.
A super pooper.
Now she's a super trooper is what she's trying to say.
You know what?
And, you know, I've built myself back.
I mean, well, I don't know if it cools anymore.
I have 537 feedback. And
I would put that. I don't know if it would be
you
used
know, I'm
because I mean, how do you?
yeah, I
mean,
usually add like 2-3 different things if I can. What, Valerie?
Years.
You know, that's a good thing is that you built. You know that it's possible because you've done it. As far as you know, going, you know, you went down and then you had to build yourself up, and that took a lot of time to do that. You know,
Yeah,
a
it
lot
took
of
like
time.
3 months.
You know that you didn't want to do it that way. You know, but I mean, you didn't really have a choice. So
Yeah, I think my biggest initial mistake on eBay was not understanding shipping. The cost of shipping, understanding how much your packaging can affect your shipping cost. Because I mean, you can weigh an item and know what it is, and not realize that oh, it's 14 ounces, no problem, that's first class. And then oh yeah, by the time you package it up and everything, you're in the 2-pound priority, and you.
And
I mean,
you're screwed.
that was probably my biggest thing, and that's one of the reasons why once I got a handle of that, I went to free shipping, because since I know now about what something's going to cost me, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Now, I mean, I sold that book press, which was cast iron, weighed 65 pounds after I got it packaged up. I charged $40 for the shipping cost on that. I won't free ship something like that because I had no idea where it was going, and I wanted to be able to take offers on it because I was asking kind of a high price on it. It actually cost me $55 to ship it, so I ate $15 out of over my intended cost, but I'm okay with that because I paid $40 for the entire lot that it was in, and I've sold a ton out of that lot, so it's basically free to me. But I mean, I sold it for $150, plus $40 shipping, so I got actually 160 plus 40, so I got 200, and I made $145 on it.
That's awesome.
But that's a big, huge, heavy item, and I had to have some idea what it was before I listed another. I have another one that I'm listing, or I already listed, and I'm waiting to see what it sells for. But I put calculated shipping on that. I'm just going to see if it's going to make a difference in how fast it sells.
Right.
So, and calculator will get an idea where it's going, and I have a 65-pound weight on it. And I know the box size now because I just know the other one out, so I know how big it is. And those things are heavy as all get out because there's just a cast iron plate on it. But it kind of is what it is. I mean, that's my biggest mistake, was not getting a handle on shipping early. And I lost a lot of money on items where I didn't make the profit I should have made because I was underestimating what shipping was going to cost me.
Oh yeah, I ate my shipping a lot of times, and you know what? You do it enough, and you'll learn.
Learn pretty damn fast after those people from California keep buying your shit.
That's university. You got to pay to learn.
It seemed like every time I would put free shipping on an item, somebody from California would buy it.
Cheap bastards.
Never failed.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning, I'd be talking to Valerie, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm freaking eating this one," because I didn't make nothing.
I remember you used to make those mistakes, and I got to eat some shipping on this one, but.
I don't do that anymore.
Yep. Nope. I will tell you, with the new summer update, though, it looks like free shipping is going to be focused more and more, as well as free returns.
Nope.
I think that's going to be huge.
Free returns?
Yeah, where you pay all returns, no matter the reason.
I think eBay should pay it.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to offer the free returns. I got to think. I mean, I know Dusty does, so he does free returns right now. But really, if you think about it, I don't get that many returns. I mean, I get maybe one every couple of months, if that.
Yeah, I don't get enough returns to talk about, so I've always had no question asked return policy, and I've always had the maximum.
I mean,
on my
I know I don't.
I put 60-day returns on them.
I have 30-day returns. I'm not going to do 60 because I can't. That's not a good enough handle on my business. I mean, I don't mind waiting 30 days.
If you think about it, though, PayPal has 180 days ship.
I'm not worried about a chargeback from PayPal. If that happens, I've never had that happen, so I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried. It's not so much that I care about a 60-day return, because I would probably still take care of my customer, but to hold me for 60 days. I mean, essentially, say you sell a big item, a $500 item, something that I'm not necessarily going to. I mean, if for 30 days I'll hold the money, but if I gotta wait 60 days and I've got $500 or $600 sitting there, I'm waiting 60 days for them to maybe think about it. I'm not comfortable with that. So I'll still stick with 30, but the free returns, I don't think is a big deal. Now, since I don't sell that much clothing, and clothing is your biggest return item, I think if I was a clothing seller, I'd be a little leery of free returns.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't have a whole lot of returns, and I sell the majority of my. I think a lot of that goes with a correct your correct listings, your measurements,
Oh yeah.
all of that. Answering questions about the item. Just really being out there as far as what the product is and the measurements and everything. I think that has a lot to do with it. um and there are every once in a while there's one that the item did not fit or something like that, or it didn't fit like they thought that it would.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't have any problem accepting a return or anything, and I'll refund them, but I really don't.
It's kind of, I mean, the thing about me is 90% of the time, if someone wants a return, I'm just going to tell them to keep it and throw it away, and I'll give them their money back. Because I'm into it for so little to begin with that I usually don't have to worry about that item. I don't care so much about it. It's the amount of money that it costs to ship it back, for me to relist it, resell it with shipping again. Sometimes it's just easier just to say, what the heck with it. You're not happy with it? Not a problem. Here you go. Here's your money back.
Yeah.
It's
And I have done that. I've done that sometimes.
I don't have too many items that get returned. I mean, because I sell a lot of stuff, but I don't get too many items that get returned like that. Because again, a good listing is your biggest defense. But
Right.
As long as they
And
return it in the same condition, right?
Right.
yeah, and I have so few returns that I just don't worry about it. Returns is not on my mind ever because I just have so few.
yeah,
Knock on wood.
Like a couple of months ago, like I was telling Nikki and Valerie yesterday, a couple of months ago, I had a month where I had like 5 or 6 returns in that month because it was just random shit, that I was getting these returns, and then, nothing. So, and it seems like that happens to me like like every 3 months or something. I'll have 2 months without no returns, and then 1 month with like 3 or 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
I
sometimes
mean,
It's like, oh my god.
yeah. Usually when I get returns, it's from a really old item that I didn't realize. I mean, I've got stuff in my store that's 2 years old, and my listing wasn't quite as good. It wasn't the way I would have listed it nowadays. And so I realized how bad that listing was. I'm like, it's just, I should have actually evaluated this and fixed it up and everything. But what the heck with it? I'll just let them keep it. It's not worth the hassle. I mean, if you go to a thrift store and you spend $5 on a pair of jeans, okay, let's just say you spent $5 on a pair of jeans, and you sold them for $25 plus shipping. So say you got $30 out of the whole thing. So you're into it really for about $11. With your shipping costs and your initial purchase cost, and then your fees and everything. But they want to do a return. So you're like, okay, it's you didn't put measurements in, or your measurements were wrong, or they're just not happy with it. You're going to eat the shipping on the return anyway. So you're going to spend $7 or $8 to get it back to you because they don't do padded flat rates to come back. So now you're into it for $18, or you can just write the initial $11 off and let them keep it. Because if there's something wrong with it, why do you want it back?
Yeah.
Especially clothing. I mean, I can understand if I sell, I don't know, if I sell one of these lights, and I get $150 out of it. It's a cool light. I'm going to put it in there. They all need to be rewired because I don't trust the wiring in them. But if I sell it and then somebody wants to turn it back because the light doesn't work, okay, I'm going to take that back because it's valuable and can be fixed.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give something like that away for free. But I sell with like this vest or one of these leather jackets or something, and I'm into them for $0 at this point, so I would be only into them for the cost of shipping. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, free returns is just that you're paying the return. Jack was talking about free returns doesn't imply something is wrong with it, though. No, it's they want to return it, and you're going to eat the return cost no matter what. So you just kind of have to deal with that. But free return. It's free returns is something you gotta be comfortable with. I don't charge a restocking fee either. I used to, man. When I got back on eBay, I was no returns, 20% restocking fee. And I think that hurt my sales.
Yeah, I definitely, I was the same way. Charged.
Me and Valerie tried at the same time.
What?
You know.
No return.
Didn't we? We tried that at the same time, didn't we, Valerie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it had a lot to do with, you know, my sales, but you know, I was like, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to be a stickler about it and everything. But it definitely, I think it definitely affected.
We used to do it too, and we dropped it too. It makes you look like you're going to be difficult to work with if there is a problem.
Yep.
It's just not worth the hassle. I mean, make your store a place that people want to buy from, not that they got to think they got to jump through hoops to make a purchase.
Yeah.
I don't get that many returns anyhow.
Yeah. I think I probably this year.
Unless you're a volume clothing seller, I don't think you really have to worry as long as you're doing your job right.
No, I mean, yeah, average retail store is between 3 and 5% of items get returned. You know, I'm way under that. I'm under 1% for returns for me. I know that. I'm way under 1. I'm like probably like a 0.6 or something like that. So, you know, look at your returns, how many you had in the last 90 days, and then kind of figure out how many items you sold and do the math. Are you under 3 or 4%? Then you're average. You know, if you're 10%, then you got a problem. Yeah, and the problem is probably either you're sourcing, you're buying bad crap, and you're not describing it correctly. More than likely, that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, I know when we jumped to 30-day because we were forced to go to 30 to maintain top rated, I never saw an increase.
Me neither.
I'm not going to do 60 though. I'll keep it at 30.
I'm not 100% sure, but isn't PayPal 90 days?
180.
180.
180.
Oh my God. Okay, well, there's your return policy. So.
No,
Exactly.
that's your chargeback policy. It's a little different. You can win chargebacks. And it's not hard to win a chargeback if you've done everything correctly.
We lost one, and we quit pursuing it because they can get up to charging you $200, and it was a $60 item.
Yeah, you have to. It's
lost the item.
Business, but you know, as long as you've done what you're supposed to do, you're pretty safe. I mean, chargebacks are pretty rare. I mean, I've been doing eBay solid now for the last 3 years, and I haven't had a chargeback yet. I've never had a chargeback in eBay, as a matter of fact. But
yeah, it's
we've had one, and we lost.
It's a corruption
in that time period. It pisses you off.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's that movie Unforgiven where deserves got nothing to do with it. Yeah, that's kind of like the way it is with chargeback. You'll either get lucky or you won't. It doesn't whether you did stuff right or what. I mean, it's a roll. It's honestly a roll of the dice.
It's out of your control because if somebody else is making that decision, that's what sucks about it. You know, the guy somebody purchased on eBay, you send it to the address, but people's accounts get hacked and the addresses get changed. Believe me, I got my account got hacked and they changed my address. And wow. Yeah, they had I saw something go into my cart. I was actually online listing and I saw something in my cart. I'm like, what the hell is that? I didn't put anything in my cart. I click on my cart and it's for an iPhone. I'm like, okay, I didn't put that in there. So I immediately logged out, changed my account number, and I stopped the transaction before it happened because I changed my password. And so I called eBay, went through the whole hassle. My account got hacked. I had to change my password again. They went through and they locked it down, and it hurt my sales. And then I went to buy something, and I hadn't realized they changed my address. And I almost sent something that I was buying bubble wrap or something like that. And I realized, wait, that's not my fucking address. It's some warehouse in LA.
Oh.
So I had to change all that, and I changed my account password again just in case. So yeah, I mean, accounts get hacked, and that's when you get killed because I mean they're going to see that the address you sent it to was not the address on record, and that's how you lose. But you can't help that. I mean, you did what you were supposed to do.
Well, this one didn't have anything to do with the hack. The guy got the item, wrote us a letter. They wasn't happy with it. And we're like, well, we're thinking just open a return with eBay. Does the chargeback on the credit card, and because it was item as described, he gets to keep the item and get his money back.
And just between us, I mean, it's a fact. The item was exactly as described.
Sure.
He just didn't like it. It was sent as rusty. There was pictures of the rust. You know, it's like you took a picture of a stain on a shirt, which I don't do because it's a pain in the ass with
This was an older Rector set, so
but
it's case
it was a $70 Rector set, so it had rust. It's from the 1930s, and there were some parts were rusty, well photographed, well documented. The guy got it. He just didn't look at the description real well and decided he didn't want it. So the credit card company said no, and eBay said we can fight this, but it's going to cost you $200 to $400, and we said okay, we'll quit.
Jack
He gets his money back.
Jack Smack just said, blah, blah, blah. That's the thing. They already think we get free shipping. Okay, so this conversation started with Megan Carl saying it was a counter offer yesterday. She wanted $3 with free shipping. Haha, no. And then Sally said, LOL, Megan, I think people are crazy sometimes like that, like they think that we're somehow getting free shipping. Megan said, exactly. Jack Smack said, that's the thing. They already think we're getting free shipping to them. They're going to think the return shipping back is free too. We will definitely not try that experiment again. What was his experiment?
Well, that's where they, because like I mentioned, like I said, the free ship, because eBay's wants you to do that, the free return shipping. We were talking about that.
I just don't. I mean, I sell everything all over the board. I just don't have a high return rate. And when I do, it's usually because I screwed up and did something wrong.
Shipping and everything.
I mean, if I was a perfect seller, my return rate literally would almost be 0. I mean,
yeah,
I just don't have a high. And as far as like do what?
Jack Smax is another reseller admitted to having over a 20% return rate. That's a bad reseller. You know, when you have that, and I agree, that person's, they do primarily clothing. So, but that's still kind of, that's a bad rate. That's a high rate. You know, he should be 4, 5, 6%. I mean, you know, that's somebody who's not describing things accurately. And that's why they're getting hit with all this shipping.
Jack Smack said his experiment was where we tried free return shipping, no questions asked, no restocking fee. I don't have any problem. I mean, I'm just saying my return rate.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
I know, but I do that. I do all of that. I've done 30-day returns for like, I don't know, 1.5 years, 2 years, whenever it was they started requiring it for
at least a year, I think.
I can't remember. Like top rated seller or whatever became an issue where it was worth doing or whatever. I mean, I think if you're selling things that maybe higher buyer's remorse or things that have fit issues, whether it be clothing or electronics or whatever, yeah, you might see a higher return rate. I mean, if that's your whole thing, but I don't know. I just don't.
It's not going to be an issue for me. I mean, I don't know if I'll do the free returns or not. I'll have to think about that when I got to contemplate that. But 90% of the time, I'm not. What I don't want to do is I don't want to say I'm going to offer free returns, and they open a return, they get an automatic label that I have to pay for, and I haven't had a chance to tell them just to go ahead and throw the item away. I'll give them their money back. That's the only thing I'm interested in. I need to look into that a little bit more.
He said, like I said, board games, heavy ones that never failed were the worst.
I don't sell board games because they're too much of a pain in the ass to ship.
I don't either. So,
has to be pretty special before I sell.
Yeah, you give me a Dark Tower or something like that, I'll sell it. But otherwise, yeah, no.
But back to the $3 thing and people making an offer $3 with free shipping. Honestly, the average consumer, I don't feel like knows what shipping actually costs. All they know, and well, I don't have any examples, but all they know in their head is that 40, I don't know what stamps are, that's a forever stamp, 48-cent stamp or 47-cent stamp or whatever, it's a little item. They could just put that in an envelope. They don't know and I think we lose sight of this, is they don't know what top rated plus means. They don't know what final value fees. Most of them don't even know that sellers pay final value fees. They don't know how selling on eBay works. And we all know that because we eat, sleep, and breathe that day in and day out. And my biggest indicator that the average person just doesn't know was when I was selling those little geo coins, and everybody in that category was making $3 off, and I just kept responding, with like a $7 offer on some of them, includes free shipping. And I kept getting replies back, well, you can just stick that in an envelope and just stick a stamp on it. And I had to finally, then it dawned on me, that's a category that those buyers have literally, because there's so many sellers in that category doing it that apparently don't care about any kind of metrics or anything, or they're not really, they're selling those as a hobby or whatever, selling their old geo coins. And that category, the whole entire category is just full. Remember the auctions we looked at, Eric, and a lot of them ended with like $275 free shipping or whatever, and we were like, how do they do that? And then we realized that's a category. So buyers in that category think, oh, well, everybody does it. They can just stick it in an envelope like they do. So that's when I just kind of had to gently, like, once we went back and forth with the counter offers, I'd put like $7 and I'd say, listen, this is actually going to cost me $260 to shipping, because in order to maintain top rated seller status with eBay, I know a lot of other sellers do it, but I can't do that because then I lose the top rated and everything. And they're like, oh, okay. And then, but then I didn't mind. Like I had one lady come through in a bunch of the geo coins and offer $3, but she bought like 12 of them. And I was like, okay, yeah, that I'll totally take. But I usually just, when I get a $3 offer like that, I counter, and I had one this morning on something, and I usually just counter with something a little more reasonable, like $7.50, and in the little condition thing or whatever box I put includes free shipping.
Yeah.
But the average person buying on eBay has probably never hasn't shipped anything since the last time they went to the post office and mailed Granny's Christmas present, and they don't have a clue. They absolutely don't have a clue.
If you go to the post office, you buy your shipping at the post office, it is unbelievably expensive. And so that's how that people don't understand what shipping costs really are, because I stand in line at the post office and I watch somebody shipping a small package that would go in a priority mail, flat rate or something like that, and they're paying parcel post rates at $15, and they could ship it for $8. I mean, people don't understand shipping.
Grandma's Magic Classic said, I think it's going to be a problem with people renting items and returning. I think there's a limited amount of our population that does that. I would like to think that all people are inherently good and have morals above and beyond that. But I think that's, at the same time, that's a little bit of a way, thanks to Amazon and their easy return policy, that's a little bit of the way that just our entire world is headed. And I think in order to stay in this e-commerce game, even though, yes, we're not Amazon, we're all small sellers or small businesses, it's part of life. It's been coming for years. It's like everything else. You look at the seller updates, you look at everything else. If you look at the latest seller update, the writing's on the wall of what eBay is trying to do. They're trying to get where they have a top tier only of sellers that are selling, not necessarily a small group, but they're just thinning the herd again. It's what they've been doing for years and years and years. And people act all blindsided when that crap comes along. And it's like, okay, you've seen it for the last 8 quarters. How could you not have seen it coming?
Yeah. And it's funny because I definitely agree that they're trying to say, and they actually said it this time, that they're going to make sure that the people that offer the things that they want offered are going to be higher in the search engines. They're going to get first consideration. So you can keep selling. They never said you can't. You don't have to do this stuff, but you're not going to be a featured seller. You're not going to get up in the search engines because of it. Now you're selling a one-of-a-kind item. You're going to be the only guy on there. It doesn't matter. But you sell polo shirts and you don't have a return policy, and you're not doing all the things they want you to do. You're buried.
I think for me, you take what, if people would just, I've said this before, but if you take what you deem to be like, oh my God, the sky is falling, a negative, and you just turn it into, okay, how can I turn this into a positive? The answer is really easy. Then conform to whatever eBay wants you to do and become head and shoulders above your competition. Stand out above your competition by doing what eBay already says they want, which is going to have multiple benefits, including better visibility, et cetera, which will lead to more sales.
Yeah, I mean, be the guy that eBay loves and pushes you up, as opposed to the guy that eBay's like, oh, they're a seller, but they're not doing what we want, so I'm going to push them down. I mean, you're going to get your sales. You're going to sell that item that he may have even a better quality one, but you're going to get that item sold because they never even see it.
Mr. Sadie said, I agree. I think Amazon is responsible for what little bit of buying scams we do have with their policies. I think more so than that, I think this is going to sound horrible, but I think that there's a generation of snotty-nosed little brats that we've raised that sit in their freaking mommy's basements with their video games and figure out ways to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare and scam people, because that's just I mean, if you look at social media, I was in a Lucky Brand store yesterday, and I was talking to the girl about like my wife's anniversary, whatever, and her birthday, our anniversary trip last year, and how long we'd been married and all that, and young girl. And we got into and she even agreed. She's like, society's not like what it used to be. She said, everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on social media being catty with each other. Everything has become so impersonal that people just view, if it's on this phone or went through this computer, there's no connection in the brain of that's a real person. And I think with that comes human nature. And human nature is to kind of inherently be a little evil in some ways, with, and you take that with a generation of spoiled brats and you throw it all together and you kind of have a big giant cocktail. So yes, I just blamed everything on the 20-somethings.
Millennials.
And I'm not saying that that's the only people that scam, yada, 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 but no. I mean, the last couple generations just have not been impressive. They're gimme, what can I get generation. And when you take that and throw in things like free returns, I mean, that's just a bad combination. Rant over.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the business. It's ever changing, and you do what you need to do to maintain your visibility, and you'll get your sales, and don't worry about it.
Jack Smack said, and those are the kind of people that end up buying our toys, the kind that Dusty's talking about right now. And for me personally, yeah, then that's where if I know that a certain category tends to have a certain type of demographic buyer, then I just go the other direction. Unless toys are 90% of your business, then you're going to kind of be in trouble. But
yeah, but I mean, it's like there isn't a cell phone seller out there that hasn't been scammed. It's one of those highest scam rate categories out there. I mean, you can make a lot of money in it, but you're gonna end up eating some losses because of that. Computers, newer computers, I'm sure there's some scamming. I mean, you don't get it too much in the vintage, but there's just some categories that just are not worth messing with. I mean, and quite frankly, it's cell phones and video games.
We're talking about that the other day. It's just as bad as it sounds. It's a demographic. Anything that's commonly bought by boys from age 15, or even girls. Girls are just about as bad anymore. From kids age 15 to about 25, if that's the most common demographic that buys that item, then I tend to kind of steer away from it. Unless there's really, really, good money in it, I'm not going to turn it down. But
yeah, if I find it and I might listen, but I know that there's a high possibility of being scammed on something. So I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, that's, again, like I said, I'm not going to get scammed on a baseball glove, more than likely. I'm not going to get scammed on a vintage suitcase. So yeah.
I think if you do get involved with something like that too, you better be putting up the numbers. Because if you're doing this like in a hobbyist situation, or I have, a spousal income or whatever that, is also helping. So I only do, I maybe have a store with maybe 100 items and I do very low volume. Those things are going to kill you. I mean, if you're going to go into like those high scam rate, you have to be like Walmart. I mean, you have to sell a lot. You have to have a lot listed and you have to be selling a lot to cover then it's just a small cost of doing business when somebody scams you.
Well, I mean, it's like the reseller that has a 20% return rate. You know, they better be selling a ton because they're getting 1/5 of what they're selling is coming back to them. You know, so you got to make sure that there's definitely, you know, volume there, so it makes it worth getting 20% returns.
Jack Smack said the biggest pain in the butt items we've ever sold were Funko figures. My God, the complaints we got about the most minuscule things on those $10 toys were amazing, and that's why I never got into them, because box condition was everything. You know, little nicks and little corners, and I don't mean this bad, but look at who your average customer is on those. It's just a demographic that I don't want to sell to because of that.
Blackberry Thistletea asks, so how long is it safe to assume that the money from the sale is yours?
I think if you don't, as long as it's not going global shipping, because that can take a while. I mean, I don't ever look at any of them. I don't
put the money on the side. If I sold a $500 item, I don't say, oh, I got to keep that $500 in there in case that gets returned. Now that's me, but if it did get returned, I mean, I sell stuff every day, so usually it's not a big deal.
Right.
You know, because they're going to take the money out and put it on hold. I guess worst case, it puts your PayPal in a negative balance. Instead of selling it up through the day, I quickly get out of it.
It depends on your business level. I mean, if you typically are selling $10 to $15 items and yet you find this thing you sell for $200 or $300, I mean, I would say, you know, wait past the return policy, your 30-day return policy, you'll probably be okay for something individual like that. But for the most part, you know, if you're selling at a decent rate, you shouldn't have to worry about something like that. You know, I always keep a couple $100 in PayPal in case I get a return. So I mean, I've never really worried too much because I don't sell too many items over $200. I mean, I sell a few, but it's not worth. I mean, you can't think about you can't think about the fact that it might happen. You know, that's the thing. You can't worry about what might happen. You have to worry about what it is. If you described it correctly, if you handled your customer correctly, you're going to know about it. But
so what's the general, like, I obviously overslept and imagine that, and missed the first part of the show. What seems to be the general consensus amongst the Facebook groups and naysayers and mob mentality? What tends to be the consensus on this new update? Are they like screaming the sky is falling again?
I did see in one of the Facebook groups they were screaming about the eBay email that came out where they're talking about fixed price listings being automatically relisted.
About what?
It just came out, and I didn't look at I probably deleted it. The email, and I know it's in the Facebook groups, they're screaming about how the fixed price listings are going to get automatically relisted.
Fixed price listings are going to get automatically relisted.
They said that is only for people that use the quick listing tool. Chris Brown yesterday got onto one of the things where one of the higher ups from eBay was on there talking about it. And they said that it's only the people that use the quick listing tool that will be affected by it.
What's the quick listing?
Because when you use the quick listing tool, you can't do good till canceled listings or something like that. It doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal. It sounds like it's just some of that fancy talk that they all them big corporations put in user agreements, and I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big
waiting payment if it's by it now because the local
it says in the email, it says we may automatically renew your fixed price listings unless your listing sells out, so you cannot cancel your listing. I'm curious about that because I mean, if I do a 10-day listing, and the listing expires, are they going to automatically relist it?
They're not talking about 10-day listings. They're talking about the 30-day listings that are done with the quick listing tool.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, this is just something they've talked about, and I know it was kind of blowing up the Facebook groups yesterday for that one line.
Yeah. People are about it, but I really don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. I mean, because most of the time I relist those items anyway. Actually, if they automatically relist it, it would save me some hassle. But as long as it's they do the same things. But yeah, it's an interesting line to put in there.
Yeah.
And I
just think we just need to see what happens.
Because I mean, if you're a person that lists it for 10 days fixed price, and then maybe I go auction it after that, and you're not getting that option, you're paying for extra listing you didn't want to do. I mean, I can see where people will get a little concerned, but you gotta, I mean, one phone call or something fixes, clarifies that. I mean, it's a very vague email. eBay should have done a little bit better job on the emailing, but yeah, again, I'm not real sure what the quick listing tool is. Is it phone listing?
Unless that's the one where you scan stuff.
I don't know.
The quick list tool is it doesn't have all the features on it. You often see it in the listing too, but it doesn't have all the features. But I've used the quick.
Glitchy.
Yeah, I know. I'm walking around. I gotta go and lock down at Walmart.
Okay, no worries. It's all good.
But the quick listing tool, I think is, I don't know. I've used it on mobile before, but I think it's on the regular eBay site too. I'm not sure. Listing on my mobile, anyways.
What is carrier settings update? Why do I need a carrier settings update on my damn phone?
Let your carrier push out an update.
Well, I hit yes, and I don't know where. I guess it does it automatically.
Yeah.
Nikki Kelly sell you?
I'll never go back.
Oh my goodness. I can't hear you, Sally. You're on mute.
I'm yelling. It's a tank top, damn it. It's a tank top and it got hot in a hurry, so I went. Sir?
Okay.
Bye.
So we have naked man and naked woman now.
I can always like fold my straps underneath my arms so it makes look like I'm naked.
Yeah, but if you do that, you move suddenly, we're all gonna get a show.
Yeah, we'll have a bunch of trolls in here.
Yeah, it'll be everybody.
Sally took her. She has a tank top on.
Sally's gonna have super chat on because everybody got to pay $1.
There you go. No.
Bring on a super chat.
Oh my goodness.
You rename it.
Somebody say naked.
Yeah, Sally's half naked. Jason's definitely checks in right at that point.
What did I miss?
Oh no, the trolls have come.
The troll is here.
Your milkshake brings the trolls to the yard.
Her humps, her lovely lady lump.
Oh my god.
You got to squeeze your arms together, Sally, when you sing that song. There you go.
those things, yeah, where you pay and you tell the girl what to do.
No.
Yeah, no.
That was
Bring
Sally's
on
old
the
job.
Bitcoin.
That boat lift.
Bring on the Bitcoin. Are
She
we
spent
about
years
to have this
on-
conversation again?
She spent years on Omegle, mastering her technique there. So
I'll do it. And then
Yeah, I ate a banana earlier. You missed that.
I think
Pass you on it.
Oh, man.
the guy's supposed to be coming.
but yeah, you ate the reason Jason's late is because he's been replaying that 2-second loop now from the banana eating thing for an hour.
Great. I come in and all the serious talk just went to hell in a handbasket.
Yep. I was trying to answer TJ Towns the Saint. She says, "Hey, what is the bottom size for jeans?"
I think he was asking for you
So,
personally, though.
what?
I think he's looking for your measurements.
It's a girl.
Okay, she's looking for your measurements. Hey, I'm open minded here.
No. I'm not really understanding the question though. Hey, what is the bottom size for jeans?
Bottom size for jeans is for men's. It's easy. It's waist and length.
Yeah.
For women's, it's a whole different animal. It's waist, length, hips, rise. I mean, it's a pain in the ass.
And
It's not that bad. I have only had a few people ever ask me about rise or, front rise and back rise. And
That's why you don't sell women's jeans. Big jeans are.
yeah, you got the Kardashian butt cup size, who knows? Seriously though, I mean, women have there's different shape butt cheeks now. How do they fit that? You don't want to look like John Wayne with a flat, back end.
I can't read the capacity rate. Okay,
Oh,
get it off.
Eventually, women aren't going to be able to move because if they stand up, they're just going to fall over. So
Got the measurements.
oh my goodness,
Okay.
ask it on eBay listings.
Jason, I sold a Butterfinger this morning for $10.
All right.
a jalapeno.
Smoking hot one. A smoking hot Butterfinger. Just like that.
You go.
I guess it could be the bottom side. Could be the leg opening. Yeah.
Did you see all the pictures I found yesterday? I thought Jason would like that of our restaurant where I had all the old school video games and
I
stuff.
just wondered how the hell did you end up with Tristan, man? That's what I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I had some.
Not that Tristan's not a lovely lady now, but she was smoking back in the day. I mean, she had that good look going to her. So,
But I was like, I was looking at my hair in those pictures. I was like, how did you ever let me have that haircut? Not that my hair is great now, but
I was
like,
gonna say,
what the
I
hell
didn't
did I have going on there?
Did you see much of a difference, Jason? I really didn't see much of a difference.
I only saw the one picture.
You had to go into the comments here, down in the bottom comments, but
Oh, okay. I didn't get a chance to really. Oh, here we go.
I posted it for you, Jason, because I knew you'd appreciate the old school video games and old signage and stuff we had hanging up.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
She was going through pictures, looking for pictures of her grandmother, and she was pulling out stuff. We were sitting in the living room. She's, do you remember this? Do you remember this? It was kind of fun.
I thought it was cool.
Is that a
I
mullet?
love pictures like that.
No, I do not have. Yeah, I don't know what, but like my hair was slicked. I don't know what the hell was going on there. That's some kind of like a greasy Italian look or something I have going.
Queen City Picker said, Dusty, did you never get out in the sun?
I never get out in the sun.
Yeah.
Well, how did we move it there?
I wasn't pale in the pictures.
No, he's not at all.
I mean, during that point in time, starting the restaurant, no, I probably hadn't been out in the sun a whole lot, but
He's got that oven pan.
I'm not reading that.
Oh no.
Read that, Dusty.
That was the duck tail. Yeah, duck tail.
probably, I don't know how old she was at that time. Let's see, Windsor. Oh, good Lord. 1990 and 2001, 20, 25, 24, 25. I don't remember. I'm not good at math.
Wow, you actually had the last action hero pinball machine.
We had some cool, you know, and at that point in time, that was, you know, that because that would have been around. Let's see, Windsor. If Windsor was, that was probably, That was her second birthday, so that'd have been right in 2000. So some of that stuff was new-ish, but I didn't want anything, Like the video game guy, if you notice the first picture where it was like, we had two different sides of the restaurants because we ended up expanding and taking over another spot in the strip mall. But we started out, you can see Donkey Kong, Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and Golden Tee Golf. Yeah, which we had a golf course right next door, and all the guys would come over. That's the only reason I let him put that one in. But I wanted just old school video games. And he kept wanting to put in, like really modern, whatever. I was like, no, I want to keep it kind of retro a little bit. And so when you look at the pictures with the birthday party on the newer side, where there was like the Terminator and Cruising World. Oh, that's Last Action Hero, yeah. And stuff like that. I let him get a little bit more modern on what he put in, but I was like, no, we're not turning this into an arcade, you know?
Yeah.
I still want it to have, like, when you walk in.
You got Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and Golden Tee were all in a row.
It took them a couple years to build the golf course, and the construction workers would come over, and dude, they would sit down while they were waiting on their food. They'd stick around, and they would spend between all of them, they'd spend $20 playing Golden Tee Golf and Miss Pac-Man, like, oh, I haven't seen this in a year. And so every day it was like $15, $20 worth of free income, you know? Oh.
We have one of those Pac-Man arcade machines. They're cool.
In your house?
No, it's out in the lounge. We have a small house.
You have a lounge?
Well, it's in the pool building. It's like an office.
Oh, sweet.
But it's all packed full of crap. It's just packed. It's like, I call it the captain's cupboard, or it's like Pharaoh's crypt. You know, it's just all packed full of, like, you know,
treasures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Treasures.
Yeah, they're treasures now, but when you go to move, it's going to be a pain in the ass, is what it is.
Oh. Well, you can always have an auction. That's always in the back of my head. But there's stuff that we're gonna keep.
Yeah,
so
that room's
the
money.
Pac-Man machine will move with us. See, we got a pair of pinball machines.
Well, Pac-Man ain't even good enough to go in the lounge.
Yeah. We got one of those arcade shooting games that has a 22 on it.
And it's climate controlled. It's got a dehumidifier that runs, 365. The humidity's kept at the same level and stuff, so nothing rusts or anything in there. So
fancy.
Yeah, if you saw a picture of it, you wouldn't think it looks like a hoarder's.
No. If it looks like a hoarder's, it's a hoarder's.
But it's good stuff. It ain't like it's garbage in there.
That's what we all tell ourselves. It's all good stuff.
Amount of taxidermied horse.
Oh yeah,
Not many people have one of them.
Yeah, it's one of those old turn of the century rocking horses that they put the real horse hide on a wooden form.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Oh.
What else do we got? Oh, that Williams pinball machine. That's way too big for the house.
Yeah.
And the Alpine that the guy paid for and never picked up. We sold an Alpine pinball machine, and it was what, 2012?
Yeah.
The guy he paid, but he never picked it up.
Was that the Alpine, the downhill skiing one?
Yeah, I think Williams makes it. It's Alpine something, isn't it? Is that a Williams machine?
I think so.
And what's the roller coaster machine?
That's definitely Williams. That's a Cyclone.
Oh, the Cyclone. That one's cool.
Yeah, that one's cool. The Alpine's a little. I mean, it's old timey.
It's old timey.
Is
yeah.
the back glass is really the paint's really starting to flake on the inside. In really great shape. We bought it cheap. We sold it, and we got to keep it. All good.
Awesome.
That was nice.
It's the best way to sell stuff.
I have a canoe I sold 2 years ago, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna relist it. The guy paid for it, and he's never come for it. I'm gonna relist it.
I would.
Yeah, it happened to me a lot with like when we were doing snowmobiles and that. We'd sell snowmobiles, and you get these guys would pay for them, and they just never come and get them. And then we'd just be like, screw it, we're gonna relist them, and you never hear from them.
Yeah, we wait like years. I mean, we wait like 2-3 years before we do it. It's not like, the guy shows up a month later and says, "Hey, where's my thing?" That Alpine, though, the guy bought it, and it was like 3 months later, and I messaged him. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, you got to pay for this thing if you're not going to pick it up. At least hold it." And he got real snotty with me. He's like, "Oh well, I was going to pay when I pick up. And here you go." So he sends me the payment. He was only like in St. Paul. Then after all that, and the guy was he was really snotty. Sends the money, and then here we are years and years later. The guy never did pick it up. So for sure he was never going to pay. When he was never going to get around to picking it up. So we were never going to get paid.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think that's, somebody was talking about that earlier in the side chat. I think that's the difference with returns. And that's one of the reasons I like the collectibles category, for instance. You have a lot of people like you're talking about with bigger equipment or collectible things or things that cater to people that have more disposable income. They're going to be more likely to buy an item and then never go pick it up, or buy an item, decide it's not what they like, whatever, and go, you know what, and just throw it in a corner and not hassle with a return. Whereas I think that if you're selling to things that it's all about the demographic, whether it be young teenage kids that live in the basement that are out to try to scam whoever they can or whatever, or people that maybe are more on a budget. It's exactly why I really like collectibles better, and maybe I get less returns.
Yeah.
It's like Jason with tools. Those people know what they're buying, what they're getting. They need that specific tool, and he has really low return rate.
Well, I think some of it's money management too with that demographic. I mean, these kids have phones that their phone bill costs the same as a lease for a Mercedes. And they don't see the difference, and they don't understand the value of it. It's what could you do with that money every month instead of putting it into the newest iPhone? If you're using the iPhone for work and it's making you money, I understand it. But if you're buying it so you can post things on Facebook, that's not really a wise use of your money. But that's part of being a kid too. But I can see where they'd run short, and then they bought something, now they can't afford to keep it, so they need to do some kind of return dealio or whatever and get that money back out of it because they blew their money.
Like a generation that lives paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. And if you're living paycheck to chase your dream, I get it. I've done that. I'm still doing that. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck so you can communicate with your friends on Facebook, that's not smart.
You're living the paycheck to paycheck because you can't stand to not have the latest, greatest iPhone.
Yeah,
or electronic, when in fact you could be using an iPhone 5 and there's really not a thing in the world wrong with it other than it's not as big and nice as your friend,
Are we still live?
Yeah. No swearing.
Yeah, you can't swear yet, Nikki.
Yeah,
I want to swear. My brother-in-law broke down at Walmart and wanted me to come save him, so I hurried up and cleaned enough room out of the van so I could fit him and his mother. Driving down my driveway, my van died and now it won't start.
Oh,
You got the van back.
It won't start. It died for some reason. It won't start. I don't know why.
In case anyone's new here, Nikki curses like a drunk sailor.
Never. Not me.
Yeah. She's awful. She's worse than me.
Oh. You know, it's like, and there's nothing wrong with selling clothing, but if you sell clothing, I mean, you're selling an item that fit is. I can't imagine ordering clothes online. I mean, unless it was like I have a workout shirt that I specifically like. I know that it's Reebok. I know that it's this style, and it fits in an XL. Stuff like that, maybe, yeah. But I mean, clothing is just automatically going to have like a higher return rate because even if you put measurements in there, like I don't know what my armpit to armpit is. I don't know what my length on my sleeve. I mean, well, yeah, I kind of do in dress shirts and stuff, but you know, I don't.
But I think a lot of buyers know that if they don't find something that fits them correctly, you know, if they don't, you know, take the time to look at the listing and make sure that it's going to fit them correctly, that they're going to have to pay return shipping or they're going to have to just send it back, and they don't want to do that. So I think I do think that I think they try. I mean, sometimes you have to kind of coach them, you know, to read the listing, you know, all the measurements and everything. But I really don't have clothing is like the least of my returns.
Really?
Ever.
See me when I call it a waste of time or whatever, but when I do my listings, I put everything in there I absolutely can think of that would cause a return or cause questions, because you know, when I had my inventory of over 2,000 items, I sure as hell didn't want to go and find an item and answer a stupid question. So I answer every question in that listing as possible, and whether it be a waste of time or whatever, I have very few questions and I have very few returns, so it works.
But at the same time, I mean, like yesterday, I got a guy that emailed me and he was going to open it before I get eBay involved or whatever. Like, he was kind of rude about it. It was a pair of Sperry topsiders that I bought like 10 pairs of them, and the boxes were all crushed, and so they were new without box, and I just threw the boxes away. And I had multiple sizes when I listed them. So what I did is I took a picture of one pair, used it as a stock photo, and then created multiple listings because they all look the same, you know, regardless of what size they are. And apparently I missed it when I shipped them out. One of them, maybe from where the box had been damaged, maybe somebody's tried them on in the store for a half a second. I mean, these are white soles. You can tell they've never been worn. But it had a little dirt spot on the back, and it had a little spot on the sole or whatever. And I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it because, like I said, I went through and made sure all the sizes matched, you know, and everything was good, and glanced at them, but I didn't like totally inspect. Well, then the guy gets them, and he's like sending me pictures, and I'm going to get eBay involved and everything else. And I said, he goes, I don't understand why you didn't show this in your photo. And I wrote him back. I said, listen, I bought a bunch of pairs of them. I used one stock photo for all the sizes. It is totally my mistake that I didn't catch it. And honestly, he could have just taken a freaking baby wipe and wiped the little, I mean, it wasn't like a dark spot. It was literally a little brown, tiny dirt spot. And I was like, you know what, but it's still my fault. I wanted to say all that, but I said, you know, it's my fault. I totally apologize. I used a stock photo because I had a whole bunch of pairs to list, and I should have caught that. I am so sorry, but that's why, rest assured, that's why we have free returns. All you have to do is send it back as item not as described. I said, or if you'd like to keep them, I can offer you a $15 refund. Maybe you can clean that little spot up. That's a possibility. Either way, I will make you whole and work with you because it was my screw up. Thanks for being so understanding and patient, yada, yada, yada. Just kill him with kindness. He writes back. He goes, wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, $15 would be fine. And he sent me pictures of them. And I have no doubt that he was probably, he didn't go out and wear them and get dirt on them. And, there are a lot of people would go, oh, scammer. No, I screwed up because I didn't check them. So I gave him $15 back. I still made money on that pair of shoes because I only paid $10 a pair. I still made money and I moved on.
Yeah.
And it's just, but had he opened a return, I mean, yeah, that was a return, but it was my screw up from shipping quickly and not inspecting better. And
I remember one time this woman, excuse me, I sold some kind of porcelain teacup or something like that. It was years ago, anyways. And there was no chips or cracks or crazy or anything like that. And I put it in my listing. Anyway, she had gotten it and she messaged me and wanted to return it because when they printed it, there was some gold whatever on the edge. When they had printed it, just a little tiny spot had come down on it. And because I didn't mention that, she wanted to return it. And some people can be pretty picky.
Robin Birchall said, Dusty, you always handle customer service issues professionally and with a smile. That's because I made a decision probably 10 plus years ago that I wasn't going to let every single little thing get under my skin anymore. And it was the most freeing moment in my business where I just decided, you know what, I'm going to take returns on the chin, just like we did in brick and mortar business. And it truly was freeing because I don't sweat them anymore. I mean, yeah, when the guy sent it, I was like, oh, what a douchebag, whatever. And I was like, you know what? But the reality was, when I stopped and thought about it, I screwed up. And I was like, okay, no big deal. If he sends them back, not a big deal. I would actually get Tristan to clean those little smudges up with a Tide stain stick or whatever her magic stuff is she uses. And then I would relist them and just relist them for a higher price to cover the shipping there and the shipping back and probably end up making more money. It's actually a positive. It's really not a big deal.
Maybe he's talking about the Batmobile.
Like Jack Smack said sucks sometimes, but some people aren't worth fighting with. Like, pick your battles. Like, that's right. When you learn to choose your battles and concentrate more on selling than worrying about the returns, it's just a game-changing moment, really. Rant over.
Well, you have to take the emotion out of it,
Business. Yeah, we'll get something like a message and we'll be like, oh, this guy's an asshole or whatever. But then when Jim types a message, it's thank you for your purchase,
Yep.
Sorry your expectations.
You will not win escalating that situation. It turns it into a lose-lose. The best
exactly.
It's a cost of doing business. Even that guy with the chargeback, it was irritating.
Mm-hmm.
Cost of doing business, and you just move on. Like Dusty said, if it starts eating you up inside, you're not. Just make more money. That's the solution.
Yeah.
You get more. You get a whole lot farther diffusing a situation by killing them with kindness, because you literally if you gushy, and I know that's not in our human nature, but if you're just gushy, oh my gosh, I am so sorry, I screwed or true. I always put truly sorry because so sorry can be read as sarcasm. I always put I am truly sorry in all caps, and then I follow up with the end of the message with I really am truly sorry and I apologize. And when you come back like that, even the biggest douchebag in the world, usually it will break them down and melt them down, and it totally diffuses the situation.
Yep.
It works the other way too. I mean, I used to get on customer service. Like if I had something wrong with a bill or something like that, I'd get on the phone and I'd just tear that person up, that customer service person. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? But now I take the same approach with customer service. They may get a little curt, like, well, you should have done what I understand, and I hate to even bother you with this small thing, but really, I do need to get this fixed or what, sound reasonable. I can tell you they get reasonable on the other end, and the next thing you know, your problem is solved. You're thanking them, they're thanking you, and everything's cool. That's most times. I mean, some that don't always have a happy ending, but I find I get a lot better results with customer service, with just even if I know it's totally their fault, they screwed up. You come on polite, you'll get it sorted out, and it just has a lot happier ending.
Well, it goes back to the saying, you get a lot farther with honey than vinegar, but or whatever
Jack
that saying is.
says I learned to be impersonal in retail when I ran out of Quaaludes.
But it's back to like what I think Nikki was saying a minute ago. There's too much. People put too much emotion into it, and I think that's easy, especially for somebody starting out that's never been in retail before or been in any kind of business where they had to maybe be management at some kind of store that took returns. There's way too much emotion, and the minute you learn to take emotion out of the equation and realize it's just business and move on, that's the moment you're going to see your business grow, really.
Yeah.
But I think there's some people at the same time, there's some people that just maybe aren't cut out for this business because they don't have that ability to take emotion.
Well, even if you're a known hothead or somebody that is known to take things to the next extreme or whatever, when you get that message, just take a minute. You don't have to answer it right that second. Take a minute and breathe, and I mean, even if you got to take a few hours, calm down and think about your response. That will help a lot. Don't answer it right away, especially if you're upset about it.
Here's a great example. I just had a return like 3 days ago, and it was for a part for $100. And I got the return. The guy says there's a little bit of damage to it, and I was like, my exact reply is no problem at all. There's no need to ship it back here. I'll send over a full refund. Just please dispose or recycle what you can. Thanks, and hope to do business with you in the future. And his reply was, I have always been really happy with the purchases I've made from you over the years. Thank you so much. Best regards, whatever. And I look back, because I didn't really recognize the name, but I looked back when he said that, and the guy spent well over $1,000 in the past 2 years with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice. It was just, I do that kind of service really, with everyone. It doesn't matter who they are. But it's nice to know he's a long-standing customer.
Yeah. I really wish eBay would implement something like that where it shows us our repeat customers.
Yeah, I know. I try to recognize as many as I can, but I do get
Me too, but it's hard.
Yeah, so it is. But good example with what we were talking about.
Yeah, and if you put yourself in that customer's shoes, I mean, he likes you, Jason, because you've given him good service and he's bought nice stuff. And then he opens up this box and he's like, oh, no, what is this? He's having, you just, not deliberately, but you've ruined his day. I mean, so now he's got to go through this contacting you. He expects it's going to be a big fight, a huge pain in the neck. And instead he's greeted with, hey, thank you for your purchase. You've been a great well, you didn't know he was a great customer. I'll take care of it. No problem. Easy peasy. I mean, and the guy just brings a dire relief and sends you a great thing back, and he's going to be a return customer. That's the way you want things.
Yeah, and he didn't open up a return. He just contacted me directly.
Yeah, that's always best. I love that.
Yeah.
Because return is really hamstring. I mean, when they file a return request, you really look at what you can do and how you can really communicate with the person.
Right.
But I think there is a lot of that expectations by buyers because they've had bad experiences on eBay. I mean, there was an entire decade in there where there was more crappy sellers than there were good sellers, especially when they opened the Chinese floodgates. And so, yeah, I think that the buyers have a lot of buyers have expectations of
it's gonna be a fight.
Have expectations of having to, oh my God, I'm gonna have to fight with this seller to get my money back. And when you and that's why they come across with such maybe negativity at first, but when you just kill them with kindness, you totally just like, wow. I mean, they're probably sitting there going, wow, didn't expect that,
Mm-hmm. Well, if you kill them with kindness too, they don't really have anything to come back with.
Exactly.
You've kind of just shut it right down because they can't be mad at you after that. I mean, they can be, but I mean, they'd have to be a pretty big douchebag to be, but.
And yeah, there's going to be the occasional person that's never made happy. I mean, that's going to happen. You're going to have it, whether it be in brick and mortar, you're going to have it in e-commerce. I mean, you're just going to have every once in a while, that douchebag that just probably is a miserable human being in real life and has no friends, and you just take it on the chin and do what you can and get your item back and resell it and mark the price up a little bit if you want to try to make up for it and just move on.
Well, the thing is yeah, just move on. I mean, the next item is going to be better, most likely, you know.
I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Yeah, there are scammers out there, but that's one of my biggest pet peeves, especially in Facebook groups, is the whole, oh, my buyer's a scammer, and everybody immediately jumps on the bandwagon without even knowing the whole entire story, just because the person felt like it was a scammer. And everybody jumps on the bandwagon, and then everybody's like, what's his name? I want to add him to my block list. That one cracks me up.
Yeah.
One thing that's one thing I like about what I sell is most of my stuff, and Tara included, probably business and industrial and like eBay Motors, that kind of stuff. Those kind of, and Jason, those kind of people. It's working men. It's shop owners. It's, you know, business owners who are fixing things for other people. You know, so they kind of understand too, and you get more of a professional, a little more professional customer too. That's one thing I like. You know, that's mostly what I sell, and I like those customers. That's probably another reason why I probably don't have so many problems.
Look, my return rate, talking about this, I think out of just under 900 transactions, I had 8 returns. So I guess it's almost 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that is kind of high. I don't know.
That's 1%. That's under 1%.
That's under 1.
Oh yeah, because that would be point. Yeah.
Mine's like 1.83.
Oh, mine's at 0.92.
Because I just looked at it a minute ago. Hold on.
34.
1.83 out of 1,500 transactions. And when I look at those returns, I mean, I'll just be totally honest, see all returns. One was my fault. It was nitpicky, but it was some American flag patches for like military uniforms with the reverse flag, and I was off by like at a quarter of an inch. I apparently did sell similar, didn't measure the flag, and thought what I had was what I had. I was off by a quarter of an inch. So the guy opened a return, but he never returned them. You know, but it was my screw up. Had he have, I was technically off by a quarter of an inch. Was it nitpicky? Yeah, but whatever. I mean, you don't know the reason that somebody needed them. Another was an item that I put as good use condition, and I didn't fully test it. You know, and I knew that it was a piece of vintage equipment. But that was that's kind of how I do things on stuff. You know, came from a working environment. And then, you know, if it gets a return, and that one he ended up not returning it. I worked with him and gave him a little bit of a refund, and I still made great money off of it, and he was happy.
Yeah.
Are you going off your transaction defect rate?
What are
you going off
into Seller Hub, and then I click on your performance, and then it shows it, and it'll say see all returns. It'll take your return. Another one was the same thing, in a piece of vintage equipment that I said was fully, and I didn't really fully test it, but that's a risk that I take. And that guy was happy with a small partial refund. Another one was a conference telephone, a Polycom conference telephone. And the reason was changed mine because her elderly dad couldn't figure out how to use it. It came back. I'll relist it. And whatever, not a big deal. That's an example right there, though, of why I don't like difficult to use electronics necessarily, because they tend to have a little bit higher return. And then the other one was an item that was my screw up. That's the 5 I've had in the last 120 days. So literally the ones that did come back or I had to make right with a refund were totally my fault, you know?
And yeah, looking back at my returns, most of them have always been my fault. Something I didn't disclose or by accident. I mean, obviously I disclose everything I notice, but not looking at it close enough or something. But yeah, except for that radio was just fine, but he sent it back. No problem. I can relist it and resell it. But actually I'm using it. I'm enjoying it. So.
Supposed to be refunded by the 8th. Did you settle that one? Because it never came back.
I don't know if we shipped them or not. I'll have to check.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to rock out those.
And I honestly, you know, that radio was the last return I had. And before that, I mean, geez, I can't even remember the last return I had before that. That's why I say it's so little. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, except for clothing. Now, clothing sellers are the exception, you know. But
Yeah, I don't
like
get
I said,
returns in. I don't sell a lot of clothing, but I can tell
Me
you what I
neither.
sell. I don't really get returns on it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
but you're selling to the collectors and the, you know, because you get most of the like vintagey stuff and that. So you're,
I
you
do
know, when
like a lot
you're
of like sell clothing and stuff.
And
yeah, when you're selling to the collectors and stuff like that, you don't really get as many returns, I don't think, because the people that are collecting that stuff, they know that there's going to be defects or whatever. It's going to be aged or, you know, most of them.
And you know when you do like storage units or you get, well, not auction lots, but most of our clothing comes from, it's like the leftover stuff. You know, we sort it out. We throw out stuff that's not sellable, but the stuff that is sellable, I mean, you know, it's gonna be $9.99 t-shirts, you know, that you're gonna throw in a poly bag, you know, and ship for like $2 to $3. You know, there's not a lot of margin. But also when they get them, it's so cheap that if they don't like it, they just throw it out. It ain't really worth doing a return for.
I got some concert t-shirt or band t-shirts that I literally found at a place that were 95% off of like $9. I paid 45 cents a shirt, so I bought like 50 of them, and I only get like $7.99, but they're super small. They actually, because they're real lightweight material and they're like snug fit or whatever, so they ship it like a 4-ounce rate. And it's like, if I haven't had a return, knock on wood on those yet, but it would probably be another one of those, just like, you know what, just keep it and toss it out.
Yeah, you're gonna tell them to keep it.
Yeah. And that's 9 times out of 10 returns I have. And most of the time, I just tell them to keep it and just give them the return.
Any of our retail stuff, if it ain't 90% off, I don't touch it. That's my go-to number. So if it's original retail was like $100 and it's now $10, I'll buy it. Or if it's a T-shirt that was $29 and it's now $2.99, then I'll buy it. But otherwise, if it's 40% or 20% of the original value, that's too much for me. I won't do it. So that's how I don't get burned. You know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think on that note, we're going to wrap it up for the day. Hope everybody has a great day and many cha-chings to you. And we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.